There was a storyline in Doctor Doctor Who.
I'm rubbing off on you.
That sounds like a
pronunciation.
Sounds like a Dr. Oz sort of thing.
Welcome to Recapping Romantasy, hot takes on hot literature. Who are we?
We are me, Maura.
I am Tabitha.
And I am Emma. Recapping Romantasy contains mature content from fairy smut to dragon rider torture to monster genitalia. Be sure to check the episode notes for content warnings and the links to our socials.
So before we started recording, we were talking about how we met Emma's in real life friends for the first time. And she was curious what everyone thought we looked like. And it suddenly reminded me of a thing that happened to me several years ago. I was in a grocery store parking lot about 8 p.m. And as I was walking out, a cart boy followed me. And so I got my groceries in my cart. I spun around and he was right there. And this was a kid in his early 20s, very, very twinky. And he was like, "What kind of music are you into?" And I don't remember a lot of the conversation. My general thing is to be off-putting in public, so I'm sure I said something weird. Anyway,
Oh my God.
I found out that he was a DJ. He had a SoundCloud account. I don't want to say what his name was because I don't want to blow up his spot. Because here's the
This could be where he blows up. He could be getting so much attention.
Here's the
through
twist.
this podcast.
Here's the twist. It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Whoa.
The music. But when I did look him up online, because I got to see who this weirdo is.
Yeah.
I started looking at who he was also friends with on social media. And I swear to God, it was just like photo after photo of slightly chubby women with colored hair.
Oh, no.
And big dark frame glasses. And I thought, they're onto me.
Well, now you're giving it up what you look like.
Yeah. I don't even know how I feel. It's so obviously I am a type.
He got you.
He got
he
me.
did. He really did.
Got him.
I feel like you're a lot of people's type because you just draw people's attention wherever
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
It's like a public thing.
Unfortunately.
You're a hottie.
Like taking you anywhere is just, it's hard.
They flock to you.
They do. They flock.
Thank you for noticing. I attract weirdos.
Like I was driving to Emma's house with her in my car. And I'm just like, I have you in my car. There's something terrible is going to happen between here and Emma's house. And did something happen? Yes.
What happened?
Oh yeah, the area
all
by
drive
itself. It was
crazy.
just like I chose to go a certain way, and Tabitha was like, "Well, this is going to be dicey." And I'm like, "I think the thing that's dicey is you're in my car." But like,
I think it's you and the energy that
Yeah.
you attract. Speaking of DJs, this just reminded me when I lived in one of the many apartments I've lived with in the past, I don't know, 10 years. I woke up this morning and getting in my car to drive to work, and there was like a mixtape under my windshield wiper.
amazing.
Like a CD mixtape. But
I was about to say, really a tape.
no, I don't have a cassette player in my car anymore. It's new. 2014, if that's considered new.
Newer than my car.
But I listened to it and I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, it was amazing. Like, they had printed like a sticker to go on top of it. Like, you know, when you used to do that in high school. It was
Well, here's the unfortunate thing
Great.
is this weirdo who accosted me in a parking lot. It worked. His viral marketing worked because I looked up his music and I was like, hey, this actually is not bad.
Yeah.
And then I told my friends about the incident and then they looked up his music.
I don't remember liking this person's music at all. Like, I did not seek it out again. So
This was like,
I think I kept the CD for a weird amount of time because I kept showing it to my friends, and they were like, "This is not like a cool or fun story."
Aw.
this
okay,
guy,
they're weird.
it was sort of like electro goth. His DJ name, which I will bleep out, is
Amazing. There was this DJ.
he also had a coke nail.
Oh,
Gross.
beautiful.
Yeah.
what a like dynamic.
Yeah.
Cart boy at a regional grocery store.
With a coke nail.
Yeah, just
Followed me to my car.
clocking women based on what they look like. They'll probably be into this. Just sliding their mixtape. Did he actually give you a physical like CD?
No, I think he gave me a card.
Wow, business cards.
Yeah, with his SoundCloud account on it.
Oh my god. Was it like a QR code?
I think there might have been a QR code on it. I just Googled it. All right, so what are we reading today, Emma?
Well, we are talking about, because we already read it, Quicksilver by Callie Hart.
Correct.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Phew. I forgot to write down her names. That's why. So this book was super popular when it came out, like, I don't know, October. And we're recording this in March. That's on me. Usually is. It was really popular when it came out. It's still pretty popular. I don't know. I was feeling way too lazy to look up anything about it, to be honest. But for the life of me, I couldn't remember what happened before I reread it, besides, like, I liked the vibes and the guy being kind of like a hot douchebag. And then reading it again, I realized why I liked it, so that's cool. I feel like a lot happens in this book. I know, like, you guys don't feel the same way about it that I do, but that's okay. I think it's pretty well paced compared to a couple of the other books that we read recently. There aren't, like, gigantic info dumps of world building, but you get, like, pieces of an entire picture, like, every other chapter. Same with the plot. It takes, like, 2 to 3 chapters for, like, one plot point to really get it, like, explained or kind of, like, fully put together. So that's why I feel like it's hard to remember what happens, because the points kind of get a little clunky while you're trying to write notes when reading. So I don't know. I would, like, write the notes and I would start something, one chapter, and then, like, the rest of it would come together the next chapter. So it's hard to kind of, like, get a good picture. They're like, oh no, this person's enthralled, and then the main character didn't know what that means. So then they had to explain it, but they explained it, like, 3 chapters later. I don't know. I tried my best here. So
we have had a lot of conversations about the best way to read a book when one of us is doing the notes for the podcast.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, personally, I think I have settled on the fact I have to read it really fast first and then go back chapter by chapter.
Oh.
How do you do it? And I mostly do it chapter by chapter unless I am really enjoying the book, and then I'll just read it all and then go back and do chapter by chapter notes.
Yeah. Most of my notes I do chapter by chapter, and then I usually go through and edit my thoughts and bad writing and typing and
yes.
cut out anything that's not important. I did not do this book because I wasn't sure. I read it first, and then I was like, we should absolutely read it. And then as I was reading it, I was like, oh no, there are pieces in here that they definitely will not like. But it was too late.
We
already recommended it.
It was well too late.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bad as what you did to me with Ice Planet Barbecue.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So also, because I read it first and then finished it, and then they started reading it, I had to reread it again and take notes. So I'm the only person who remembers what happens. And
yeah, basically.
Because I read it, like, yesterday.
I have long stretches of just, like, blankness in this book. Like, I don't remember a whole lot of it. And I sincerely don't remember much of the end because I think it kind of started going off the rails.
No, it goes super off the rails at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. It gets crazy. But my main thought when I finished this the first time, and also when I finished it the second time, was, in my opinion, it's kind of like a better version of, like, a lot of the main parts that happen in ACOTAR. I think it plays out better here. But I don't know. Let's get into this. So we open with our female main character being choked and questioned by a guardian who's, like, the police basically of this area. And she's traveling between the rings of the city Zilverin. Zilverin is, like, a combination of Ba Sing Se from Avatar, or, like, the arrondissements of Paris, by which I mean it's separated into numbered wards that are divided by these gigantic walls. Also, like Ba Sing Se, Zilverin is located in a desert, so water is hard to come by unless you are extremely wealthy. Sarah Spain, who is our female main character, she's a 24-year-old urchin from the poorest ward. It has been quarantined because everyone believes there's some sort of, like, disease affecting the pores. And I thought it was just poverty, and the queen was being, like, hella dramatic about it by quarantining everyone as if, like, poverty would spread. Yeah.
Are you still considered an urchin once you become an adult? Maybe if you're small enough.
I don't know.
If you're very petite, perhaps. I think it's mostly for kids. But
Oh, well,
I think
she is an urchin. Like, she definitely has urchin vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're an adult, it's just you're living in poverty.
well, sorry.
No, it's the vibe. She's got urchin vibe.
Our first note critique.
Yeah, no. Sarah's was trying to finish up a deal that she made with someone, I don't know who they are, to get her ward some more water when she gets questioned and choked by the guardian. So now we're back to where it started. They are these skilled warriors that help keep the peace of the city, but they're covered in golden armor from head to toe. So, like, hard for them to move quickly. She tells this guardian that she's from the 3rd ward, and he drops her like she's covered with pustules. And then, like a dramatic bitch, throws off his glove because he thinks it's infected too. Another precious resource in this city is metal, and selling the glove would get Ceres a lot of coin. For a moment, she considers leaving it because getting caught with it would mean she gets thrown into a pit with everyone. I don't know. It's like very dramatic and gross. But the glove seems to sing to her, so she grabs it. So after a brief tussle with the guards, she manages to escape to the wall with the Guardian's golden glove. As she's climbing up the 50-foot plus wall, something strange happens. The gauntlet starts talking to her. The metal whispers at her, "She sees us. She feels us." And I picture it sounding like how those little walking brains sound in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, I also imagine the metal is having the same voice as us, the friendly little intellect devourer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but when any little inanimate object starts talking, I immediately go for Gollum and Lord of the Rings, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I the second time I read it, I like listened to the audiobook for some and then read it on my Kindle again. And there's two narrators in the audiobook. There's obviously the one for Ceres and then the other female voices, and then there's someone to do Kingfisher and the other male voices. And so for the like creepy voice that talks throughout this book, it's both of them speaking together.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did listen to the audiobook, and the audiobook is really good.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it more.
Yeah. So she has this glove, she's escaped, she's back in her ward, and she goes straight to Ilroy, who's like her guardian, I don't know, parental figure. And she asks him if she can use his forge to melt down the gauntlet. And he says, fuck no. Elroy, as I said, is like her mentor, and he takes care of her and her brother Hayden. Elroy used to make iron weapons for the rebellion against the immortal queen / goddess sort of person. Her name is Queen Madra. But when she won against the rebels and killed all the magic users, he started to make glass instead, since it's another valuable resource. Because actually everything is a valuable resource in Ceres's work, because she's like the poorest place you can think of times 10.
Only times 10?
Probably times like 100. I don't know. Everything like at one point, she's like, food and water is so scarce. The children are like beating each other up in the streets for just like a crumb of bread.
It's got to be way easier to make glass there. I mean, you got all that sand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did think that too. He's like the best glass maker.
Perfect.
Sure.
So Elroy, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying his name, tells Ceres to be careful because if the queen or her guards find out what she can do to the metal, they'll kill her in front of her poor innocent brother. And like, how old did you think her brother Hayden was in this story?
I was thinking definitely teenager, like maybe 16, old enough to do stupid shit but have real world consequences.
18.
I thought he was like 16 to like 12, because later in this chapter she says the boy was only 3.5 years younger than her, but he acted like he was still waiting for his balls to drop. Which like
just what boys are like.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I find him annoying.
So apparently that would make him what, 20 years old?
Yeah, he's actually 20, but like that's not the age you are,
right?
When that happens to you. I've heard. I took health class.
So, I don't know. I think boys, generally speaking, are dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
and a 20-year-old boy, yeah, God, men, all together, they're just doing dumb shit. So that makes sense.
We try to say that they develop slower, but really, it's we put less expectations on them and let them get away with more shit.
Yeah,
yes.
Society.
Yep.
Ceres tells Elroy that everything she does is for her brother Hayden. She then finds Hayden beaten up outside the local bar because Ceres gave him some money to buy water earlier, and he gambled it away to Carrion Swift. A direct quote, "Carrion Swift, the most notorious gambler, cheat, and smuggler in the entire city. He was also uncommonly good in bed, the only man in Zilverin who ever made me scream. His name out of pleasure rather than frustration." I don't know. I was convinced for like 2 chapters that maybe he was the love interest for this book. She also describes him as tall and broad and confident, and Ceres does hate him, so that sort of checks the enemies to lovers box. But he's a ginger, so never mind.
I'm still kind of mad that he wasn't the love interest.
Yeah.
Like initially, I was like, wait. Is this the love interest? Does he have personality? He's funny and snarky and takes care of his grandma, right? So I was into that. I was like, this man is going to be the love interest, right? Because he has I don't know, he's interesting.
He's got charisma.
Yeah, but then it was cruelly taken from me and replaced with the usual bullshit. So never forget that one moment when I thought, an interesting love interest.
Yep.
Also, it's funny that you say that, Emma, because the next book I'm making you read, the ginger is the love interest.
Blasphemy. I'll get over it. Hayden whines about how he also lost his scarf to Carrion, and Ceres is like, fine, I'll get it back. Fuck you. So she gives Hayden the bag with the gauntlet and tells him to wait outside. Her and Carrion banter, and he mentions that he heard a rumor about a black-haired girl from the 3rd ward stealing a gauntlet and how dangerous it would be for her to bring it back to the ward. He's worried that the guards will come and look for it and fuck things up for all of the people who live there.
True.
Mm-hmm. Ceres tells him that she'll handle it, and when she goes out to get her brother and the glove, he's gone. So she runs through the ward searching for him, and she finds him in the middle of 30 guards holding the gauntlet in broad daylight for everyone to see. She yells to them that she actually stole the gauntlet, and like an idiot, Hayden tells them that he stole it. So the guards are annoyed and go to arrest them both. Ceres then fights back. She's able to hold her own for a bit, even though the guards are highly trained, because when her mom was alive and housed the rebels in their attic, the rebels taught Ceres how to fight. She kills one of the guards with a perfect hit to his neck and cuts the hand off another. She picks up a guard's sword and uses it to kill a third.
Remember, at this point, she is not only a malnourished waif, but extremely dehydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the pores are perpetually dehydrated.
Yeah.
Like, didn't they say that you daily allotment's like 8 ounces of water or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't this chapter also talk about how she hadn't had anything to drink in a while? Isn't that like a theme?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's even a way that you can live. Like, I think that's a slow, miserable march towards death.
Yeah.
8 ounces of water is not.
Oh, yeah. Think of the kidney stones.
Yeah. You would be dying. There's no way. Like,
Yeah.
your body sweats through and uses more water than that per day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost like it's strategic on the queen's part. Maybe we'll find out later. So the captain of the guards stops her, and Hayden is like a slobbering, crying mess, trying to convince them to arrest him instead of Ceres. The captain is like, dude, shut the fuck up. She just saved your life, and now you're like trying to get arrested and throw it away. Like, he's a big dumb idiot, though. And she has to be mean to him to get him to run away and go to Elroy.
Go on, kid.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. God, this chapter was forever long.
Yeah.
I was listening to the audiobook of this, which, like I said, was really well done. And even so, I was like, are we going to get to the arresting bit? Or are we going to yell at each other and stand around in the sand for the vibes? Like, oh, wait, no, we have to fight so we can show that Ceres is good at that. But even that took forever. And I saw somewhere in the discourse online about this book that it was super overwritten. And I do kind of agree with that. Like the chapters are really packed with extraneous shit to the point that I started to forget why we were doing things. Because we're so like, and now I'm going to very intricately fight this man. And then I'm like, why are we fighting? Aren't we supposed to just be arresting you? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I can see that. So.
No, I'm into that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it here.
It's
but
fine. I think it worked because she is a really charismatic character. But yeah, after a while, I was like, are we going to get to the point of the end of this chapter?
Yeah, no, the chapters are really long sometimes.
They are. They're very long.
Other times I'm like, nothing happened. But I still wrote so much. So Ceres is in a palace cell waiting to get sentenced by Queen Madra. The Captain Heron and Ceres banter. And this is probably just me, but they also seem to have like good banter, like her and Carrion. So I just like convinced myself again that he was the love interest and was like maybe secretly a spy, and they were going to overthrow the queen together and fall in love, but I was wrong too.
Yeah, you were super wrong.
Yeah, really wrong.
No, but I get it. Like, we've been trained for the love interest to show up by now. Yeah. So we're like, who is it? Show yourself. And we get really frustrated when it doesn't happen by chapter 3. Like, they're supposed to show up by chapter 3.
Yeah. Oh, is that like the...
I mean, it's not like a hard and fast rule, but it is like they have to show up pretty soon in the book. Otherwise, you start casting around. Who is it? Who is it?
Yeah.
And here we've done it twice.
Well, yeah, I've fallen into the trap. Oh, no. So... her and this guard Heron trek through the palace to see the queen. She trips at one point on a step, but he catches her before she falls. See, love interest potential. And then he gives her some water, and he cares.
Yeah, he cares. Like, it's just Ceres just has too much chemistry with everyone. I think is the problem.
I mean, I think it was a deliberate choice to show how people can't be trusted.
Yeah,
like he seems nice.
Yeah.
then he does try to strangle her.
That's yeah.
You know, all of the strangling that happens to her really does shine a new light on the sexy strangling that happens later.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, we will. He takes her to a giant empty room to speak to the queen, who says if Saris tells her who helped train her to fight like that, then she'll shorten her sentence. Sarah says no one helped, but the queen says that she knows that the Fae helped her. And Saris is like, okay, is the queen crazy because, like, she's 1,000 years old? Because all the Fae are dead. Like, they couldn't have helped.
So she is like 1,000 years old, right? And they know that. Mm-hmm. They know she's ancient.
Yeah.
And
no
so
one knows why.
This is a question because I don't remember. But are they dumb? Is everybody dumb? Does anybody question why she's 1,000 years old?
So in like the human realm in Zilverin, it's like it's not explained. Like clearly explained, but it's kind of alluded to that she's their religious figure. Mm-hmm. So like not only is she queen, but she's like the god queen. She's like a goddess. That's why she's lived so long type thing. Okay. Like they like praise to her type piece.
Because I'm thinking to myself, Fae are long lived, right? Thousands of years old. Mm-hmm. And here's this conveniently 1,000-year-old queen, and they're like, oh, the Fae are all dead. That's not a thing. I'm like, have you guys stopped and thought that maybe your queen is Fae?
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere along the line someone's thought that.
Yeah, like maybe they thought to themselves, hey, here's a thought. If we put 2 and 2 together, it equals.
Yeah. No, not here.
They're too dehydrated to give a shit.
So the queen is crazy because she's like, Saris, life has been kind of boring for me lately. Like, I've been around here a long time. And that was, like, fun, what you did today when you killed those people. And that's why I brought you to this weird room, because the only way the Fae would come back is if this room kind of, like, changed mystically. But nothing has happened. And I'm bored again. So Heron's going to kill you slowly. And then we're going to kill everyone in the 3rd ward. Okay, cool, bye. So then they start fighting. Heron stabs her in the gut and twists his sword in the wound. Gross. And he's like talking her through it though. Basically, he's like, I know it hurts, baby, but breathe through it. Like, it'll only hurt a little while. I know, I'm sorry. You're doing so good, baby. Like,
it was like that.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And I'm just fucked in the head because I was like, okay.
No, I mean, it's pretty dark romance is what it is. I see where you're going with it. And initially, like, I guess I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not really going to kill her. He's got some like card up his sleeve because he's being like weirdly nice about it. Mm-hmm. And like,
yes,
he's not going to actually murder her, even though he's actively doing that.
Right.
But this is what Romantasy has wrought.
Yeah. It's fucked me in the head is what I've learned. So then he takes his sword out to like actually kill her. But his sword gets stuck midair by some sort of magic. Something inside her mind basically melts Heron's sword in his hands into like liquid metal. And this liquid metal is moving towards him. And he's like, please stop. And Cersei is like, oh, you don't want to die with me? And he's like, the queen won't let me die. He's like, your magic that you're doing right now, it's going to end the world. And she's like, cool, whatever. Like, oh, never mind. What's this sword over here on this pedestal? And he's like, no, don't touch that. Don't touch that. And then she stabs him with it.
It's all moving quite fast.
Yeah. It is. Then all the swords melt into a silver pool underneath Saris, and a tall man with black hair and green eyes with a little flecks of silver in it crawls out of the pool.
It's always fucking flex.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And this is when I was 100% sure that Carrion and Heron were not the love interest because they didn't have flecks in their eyes.
It's such a good point. We totally missed the true signs, so shame on us.
Mm-hmm. And the tall man, when he comes out of this goo, is like, where's Queen Madra? But Heron has gone officially crazy, and he's like muttering about obsidian passages, and the mystery man's like, dude, it's just in you now. And then he kills Heron. He takes off his chain necklace, this tall man from the goo, and he clasps it around Saris's neck and says he'll be mad if she dies before he can get it back. He picks her up and walks into the silver pool before she passes out. She wakes in an opulent room, and a blonde fae named Everlane gives her some water. Saris is freaked out because the fae are supposed to be like cannibal warmongers, but this woman is nice. So, of course, Saris is like, let me see your teeth, because, cannibals, I guess, have weird teeth. And Everlane is offended by this question. But they move on, and apparently Saris is a fae name. And, like, is it foreshadowing when it's this obvious?
It's just like when Feyre was an old fae name.
Yeah.
It's like ripping that page right out of ACOTAR.
Yeah, again, I feel like a lot of the pieces in here are very ACOTAR-esque.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone in this book has a fantasy name except for fucking Hayden. Hayden
I know.
Christensen.
Yeah, that's true. So Ceres was brought to Yavelia, which is what the Winter Palace is called, this place. A different man, not the man from the goo, barges out of the room. His name is Renfis. Nope, that's not his name. His name is Renfis. And he's tall with sandy brown hair. And apparently he's like 7 feet tall. In the audiobook, he has a Scottish accent. Also, let's pause for a second to talk about the audiobook. And I think every audiobook should be like this one. There's a female narrator and a male narrator, and they do all of the voices for their respective gender. And oh my God, it's great. I've been chasing after this for like 3 months. I listened to Lights Out at the beginning of this year, which is not a fantasy book. It's dark romance. But still, it was just like this, and it was fucking glorious. Like, please, audio publishers / editors, I don't know what they're called, but like, do this more often. I know it's more work, but just stop with the graphic audio and just do this instead, please. Like, I also listened to another book this year where I could hear like the one narrator gulping water in between poorly made cuts of like different takes. What do I need to do to like give you more time or money for your craft, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Like, I absolutely hate listening to men try to do women's voices. Mm-hmm. They're so bad at it. Like, the woman could be hardcore a spy.
Yeah.
Rappelling down a mountain faced with a gun in one hand. And if it's the male point of view that this is happening, she'll always be talking with a soft-spoken virgin heiress voice, like whose greatest trouble in life is not being able to embroider perfectly, and is in the middle of a rose-scented bubble bath drawn for her by multiple maids. It's so aggravating, the way that they do it. I'm just like, this takes me out of the story completely.
Yeah.
I don't think that every male narrator is bad, but like 90% of them are. I will sometimes get a visceral reaction where I'm like, is that what you think women sound like? It's usually either shrill or childlike. Mm-hmm. It's a hard find.
They're all super shrill. Or like the one male narrator who did Lights Out, I listened to another book specifically for him. The book was terrible, but he ended up doing the female voices when it was in the male's perspective, and I was like, you sound like you're making fun of gay man. Like, you don't even sound like you're trying to be a woman. You sound like you're trying to be like so unbelievably homophobic right now. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So,
it can ruin books for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like you're taking this really like a hard as nails character, and you're treating her. She comes off sounding like a soft little 12-year-old who's never once seen a penis in her life. Like, it's just the worst.
Yeah, like Not in Love was like that too, the Allie Hazelwood book. I tried to listen to it to see if I could get through it, and same thing when it was
it's off-putting.
It is off-putting, and then there was like an Irish character, so then they both had to do an Irish accent, but it wasn't like the same Irish accent. I don't know. I'm picky. Okay, so this really tall man, Renfis, is here to return the other big man's necklace. He is apparently affected by not having it on and is like struggling without it, so Ceres gives it to him. Everlane tells her that she can't go home. Ceres and the sword, she found this sword in the palace, remember? They're very, very important to Everlane and her father, King Bellican.
At this point, do we know why she can't go home, or is that what they explain next?
I think they explain it more next. I think there's like a little kind of like, we need you to save the kingdom,
of course, piece,
but yeah, not it gets explained now ish. On their way to see the king, they talk about the gods. Queen Madra is not a god, but the people of Zilverin believe she is and only worship her. Everlane says that Madra knows the gods though, and there's actually like pretty good world building here and like descriptions of the gods, so I appreciated that.
I forgot all of it.
It's
I remember something about 2 moons.
Yes, there's 2 moons in Zilverin, and the story is like that they're twins. And it gets explained now that like the Fae believe the like, oh my God, it's like hard to explain. It's like one name because there's only one sun in the Fae realm, but because there's 2 suns in the human realm, the Fae sun goddess gets split into the 2 twins. Like her name is like Bella Mata or something. I'm making that up. And then like and then like in the human realm, it's like sun goddess Bel and sun goddess Mata. So I thought that was cool. Ceres refuses to bow when she meets King Bellican because she's like, you're not my president. He's not amused and tells her that her brother's dead and she should shut up and just awaken this Quicksilver that will reopen the pathways between worlds or else. Then the guards drag a man into the room. He's covered in smoke-like tattoos. The crowd starts whispering his name, Kingfisher. And that's also one word, and that's also his name. 2 things. I've decided that all Wispy Fae tattoos are boring and tired, and I can't imagine what they actually look like. So I'm picturing like cyber sigilism tattoos, which are really fucking stupid. And I also think the name Kingfisher is dumb as fuck.
I agree. I do think the name Kingfisher is dumb as fuck.
Yep.
But also I think male main character tattoos in Fae Romantasy are a requirement now. I don't think a book can be published in this genre without them. I genuinely don't think that's happened in my life. Like maybe One Dark Window is the only one I can think where the main character was not tattooed.
No, that was barely romantic.
And that was barely romantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's how we got out of it.
And they're not Fae in that one technically, right?
No, but like even so, like most romantasy now, like the MMC is tattooed,
True.
regardless of Fae or not.
I just immediately see them all as tribal tattoos.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to me if they would specify that there was a Fae love interest with like flash tattoos, like a bunch of naked ladies, maybe a heart that says mom or mum, since these people always seem to have British accents in the audiobooks.
Yeah. Or they like take place in what is very obviously Britain, but they all have American
Right.
accents for some reason. Later on, the tattoos get described as being like intricate knots, and they include runes. So when that happened, I was like, oh, so like maybe like Celtic style tattoos are the vibe. But a male character with a blackout tattoo that's like the result of dark magic or something would be like sick. Like it's like taking over his body somehow. So,
King Bella.
no, I know. I was thinking if I was going to make you open those pictures right now, but we'll move on. So, King Bellican once...
Oh my god, you added more.
I did! Well, because I wanted to make you look at the new one that I found from Pinterest.
Okay.
Because, first off, that man's gorgeous. But the one from Pinterest, the person who did the art, Sad Night art, I'll put them in the show notes. They did a really good job, and they drew, like, Celtic style knots and runes. So, good on them. You should look at their art. It's cute. So, anyways, thanks for humoring me, Tabitha. King Bellican wants this man dead because he killed a bunch of people before being locked in the silver pool. But this, like, I don't know, oracle thing speaks up, and she says, Kingfisher will not die today. They must return his pendant. So the king's like, all right, fine. Kingfisher must help Cerys learn about the Quicksilver for 1 week, and then he'll go to the front lines with Renfis. Renfis puts the necklace on Kingfisher, and then he, like, calms down, but also, like, grows so weak that he has to, like, help Kingfisher walk out of the throne room. Everlene and Cerys like rush after them and meet up, and the second Kingfisher talks, Cerys feels like a thrill of energy run up her spine. Oh, and of course, like, Kingfisher's gorgeous, in case that wasn't said.
I mean, is it magic she feels, or is he just hot?
Both.
It's the best when it's both.
Yeah. Has to be both. So the next day, the girls visit the librarian, and he's very excited to meet an alchemist. Kingfisher appears, and he's dressed in full armor with a giant sword. He makes like a bad dick joke when he catches Sarah staring at him, and then she calls his penis a toothpick, which is cute. Everlene tries to give Cerys a history lesson. She's like, I don't give a fuck about Fae history. I want to open the portal. I want to go save my brother. And Everlene is like, dude, sorry, he's dead. And Cerys is like, if you had a brother, wouldn't you try to bury him properly if he was dead? Everlene then, like, really dramatically looks at Kingfisher and goes quiet. Kingfisher tells Cerys that he admires her loyalty to her brother, and maybe he is alive. And then he also explains that an alchemist can open portals. But if that happens, the Queen Madra will start a war. But who cares about war?
They're calling her an alchemist because she can open the portal.
Yes.
But she doesn't know how she did it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They're actually like a little, they're like, maybe it was just a fluke here. So,
You got to keep her just in case.
yeah,
It
just in
turns out
case
to
she
not
is
be a fluke.
actually an alchemist. But they're like, humans can't be alchemists. That's bullshit. So I'm saying it. She is. All right. Ren is like, dude, Kingfisher, we're already at a war with this place called Sanus Roth. Fight with us. And Kingfisher tells him the last time he fought in a war, a whole city burned down. Really dramatic.
Yeah.
Kingfisher calls Cerys a Fae word, Oshilith.
We don't know what it means.
No. Oh, yeah, it means butterfly.
Well, I mean, like, yet.
Oh, sorry.
He just says it like it could be a curse word for all we know, or a slur.
Yeah,
It could be a
like,
slur for human.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We have to wait until later when it's romantic to know what it means.
Yeah, right now he says it like you are absolute dirt.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to come across.
Yeah, it's kind of like when British people say like cunt. Like it could be like cute. Like a cute little name.
Yeah, totally cute.
Yeah.
Because British people are so cute when they say things.
or it could be not cute. We'll find out later. He explains that Ceres is in danger. Millennia ago, the Fae were cursed to drink the blood of humans to survive. They don't need to do it anymore, but they still have like the canines for it. And this was the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to make us read this for the podcast.
I mean, is this like particularly scary to her? Because like it's not like they're active vampires that are like seeking out human blood.
Yeah.
Like humans can also technically drink blood. There's nothing stopping us from doing it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we have drunk blood. I have a weird note here that I put in because I needed to talk about it because medicinal drinking of human blood is fascinating, but people used to do that.
That's gross. Why? Like, what was the...
They used to think that if you drank certain like cures like, that's what they would think. So if like you would drink like the blood of a particularly like strong man, let's say, you would take on that strength. And so it was very common for people to cluster around the executioner block and like get a cup of hot blood right after and just guzzle it down right there.
This is a very brief period of time in the early modern era.
Yeah.
They also ate mummies.
Yeah, it happened. I don't know. This stuff happened in Germany, and I think that happened a couple times in the U.S., like up into the 20th century.
Do you think this is how people are going to like look back on like the poop enemas that people do?
I mean, I think it's one of the various stupid things we've done in medical history.
Humans are full of dumb shit that we've done.
I mean, that said, people also bite people for sex reasons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, blood play. Come on.
Ren and Lane are upset that Kingfisher shared this with Ceres, and he's like, get over it. I'm the bane of Gilthray, whatever that means. And Everlane is like, you're my brother. And then she runs off crying. She's pretty dramatic here. Everyone is actually really dramatic here. Ren then chases after Lane, and Kingfisher calls Ceres O'Shaleth again, and then explains that it's a butterfly that only lives for a day. So it's supposed to be like an insult. And he also calls her Osha for short a lot in this book.
It is basically her name after a while.
Mm-hmm.
This explains why there's butterflies all over the terrible cover.
Yeah, really bad.
Let's talk about the cover.
Bad.
But
I have so many thoughts about the cover.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy because Osha means something entirely different and very distinct in our world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the guy on the cover looks like Harry Styles?
Yeah, now that you say that, a little bit.
It looks like a nondescript white guy with dark hair to me.
Yeah, I don't know. The longer I stared at it, the more I was like, this is like a really beefed up version of Harry Styles.
Yeah, and he's got smoke tattoos.
Yeah.
I do remember after I recommended this book to you guys, Tabitha was like, do you mean this one? The one where it looks like he's crying cum?
Yes. Yeah, that's like in my head now forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So every time I look at the cover, I like know, like if you don't know what this book looks like, it's just this man with like neck tats and smoke tats all over
and
him.
he's got his hands behind his neck. Like he's looking down kind of. He's got his hands kind of cupped behind his neck. So he looks like, I'm so tortured and sad.
Well, he is.
Yeah, he's got cum in his eye.
Yeah. And then he's got a silver tear, like he's crying Quicksilver, but it does kind of look.
Yeah, that's what he tells her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gross. And there are really bad butterflies. I don't know why they just like stick out so much. I think it's because like they're too saturated or something. The coloring
was a self-published book.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
So if it gets picked up, there's a chance it might have a better cover now, but
yeah,
there's a chance they'll give it another cover or not, like depending, because it got big and people recognize the cover for what it is.
Give it a new cover.
I think it's a not great cover, to be honest.
Terrible.
I was like,
I read somewhere, and I could be making this up, that she like did it herself.
I have heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
which, you know what, good for you.
Yeah,
but also, I mean, clearly it worked.
There's
also,
real artists.
that too. But also, I mean,
yeah, the cum in the eye is just a choice. So Ceres is worried about magic because she's like never experienced it before, and Kingfisher's a dick about it. But she matches his energy and calls him trash. Then they go to the forge. The forge has vines and greenery all over it, and it's like never been used. They chat as they clean up the forge. She asks him about his necklace. Unlike another male love interest from another book that we've covered on this pod, Kingfisher actually answers his questions. Well, her questions.
Who are we throwing shade at here?
Zayden.
Oh, okay.
Because in all of Iron Flame, he was like, I'll only answer your questions if you ask me the right questions.
Yeah, they have to be very specific
Yeah.
and to the point. And
Yeah.
if you don't know the questions to ask, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, Kingfisher does at one point like say you have to ask me like interesting questions.
If they're boring questions, fuck off.
Yeah, which honestly, I agree.
But this is a book, damn it.
Yeah, don't
questions
ask
have to be
stupid
interesting.
questions. Yeah, get stupid answers. All right. So he explains, Quicksilver is what creates the portals between worlds. It's volatile and possibly sentient and very, very dangerous. If it comes in contact with your skin, it will make you go insane, which is what happened with that guy Heron. Kingfisher's mother gave him a powerful pendant that allowed him to safely travel through the Quicksilver, but one time he had to travel through it without it, and it almost killed him. A healer then pulled him from the Quicksilver and pulled most of the Quicksilver out of him, but there was still some in like his body, and so wearing the necklace is the only thing that keeps the Quicksilver quiet and him sane. He gave Ceres the pendant to wear when they went through the Quicksilver, like to save her, but he also has this ring that protects him, so he was okay. He then brought her to the Fey realm because only an alchemist can open the portals, and even though they're all dead, she was able to do so, so possibly she's an alchemist. Being in control of the alchemists / the portals is advantageous for trade and for war. He says he only cares about her because he wants to use her as a bargaining chip for his own freedom and for his people to be free. Then he uses his magic to clean the whole thing.
Yeah. His shadow magic.
Yeah, sorry. It was shadow
because he
magic.
has shadow magic, obviously. And truly, that's the best use for shadow magic. It's house cleaning.
Same.
Yeah.
I really dislike this guy.
Yeah. He's a dick.
He is not coming across well here.
No.
He's a complete asshole to her.
Yep.
And treats her, like I said, like shit. So, yeah, it's a ride.
Yeah, he's derogatory towards humans too. Mm-hmm. So the next day they're back in the library. Ceres learns more about alchemy. There's like 3 different types. It's not really important for right now. But there's little information about how alchemists like use the Quicksilver at all, because apparently they all went crazy and killed themselves. So there's also like a little aside here about how Ceres is able to like read and speak the Fey language again, and how she's able to read and speak the Fey language, period. And then it's just good explanation, because I have that question all the time when I'm in these books. I'm like, wouldn't they speak a different language? Mm-hmm. But
I have been watching Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
And there is a huge time jump between the second and third series where they, long story, jump around 950 years into the future. And it's driving me insane because, number one, everybody speaks the same language. Mm-hmm. Number two, all the cultural values seem to be very similar.
Oh.
And all I can think about is imagine if somebody from like 900 jumped to the modern period.
Yeah.
Technically, they'd be speaking English maybe if they came from the same place. But it would be like an earlier form of English. Would we be able to understand them? Mm-hmm. Would they be like freaked out by the way that we behave?
Yeah.
And like none of this is addressed in the show, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, that would make me mad. It makes me mad in books when it happens. So I appreciated the explanation here. There's more exposition. Everlane explains that Queen Madra put this like special sword into the Quicksilver pool in the human realm, which stops all of the portals from working because they're all like connected. They're all like the same door. If one opens, they all open, sort of. So she also tells Ceres that she's almost like 1,500 years old, and Kingfisher is like 1,700 years old. So, but don't worry, he looks like he's 30.
Yeah, don't worry. He's not a decrepit 90-year-old looking man. But right here, I kind of fell into like this hole of pondering about what it would really mean to fall in love with a man who is 1,700 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know why it happened just for this book, because clearly I've read other books where there's a huge age gap romance.
This is like the biggest, though.
I know, it's pretty long. I think it is because he's like 733 years old. I was like, that's one, very specific, and two, it's just like a lot of years. And thinking about like, what would this look like really in like real life? Certainly it would be horrible, right? Like the amount of mansplaining that man would be doing to her at all times would have to be near constant, because he's like, I know everything, and you, having been only here for a mere 24 years of life, know nothing. You were an infant.
Right.
I always think about how detached you would be from the rest of the world after like 500 years. wouldn't everything just sort of start to blend together?
It blends together for me right now, honestly.
There was a storyline in Doctor Who a few years ago where the Doctor made a medieval Viking functionally immortal as a way to save her life. But she was still technically human, so her brain could not properly store 800 years of memory from the next time that he met her. She could only really remember about 80 to 100 years of her life, and then the rest was completely gone.
Yeah, I do think about the memory piece when the Fae are this old, because like I don't remember like anything pre like 16 years old.
I remember things, but very specific things. Like I don't remember just like, you know, getting up one day and going to school. Like that's not, unless something very specific happened.
Right.
As you get older, it gets fuzzier around the edges, those early memories. Like you can kind of remember them, but it's a little faded.
Yeah. I just think I have a bad memory in general. So anyways, Kingfisher tells Saris to ask him anything she wants to know. Again, if it's interesting, he'll answer. They bicker about dick sizes again. It's like his only joke, kind of. And he calls her a bitch, and she asks him if he actually razed a city to the ground, and he says yes. When she asks why he did that, he tells her that she's not ready for that information because humans are weak, and the reason he gives won't be good enough for her.
So at some point while I was reading these notes, I decided that I was going to go through and pretend that I was a distraught, very, I don't know,
do it,
overly emotional man who's not used to emotion outside of anger. So here I said, "Woe, for I am tortured and have a dastardly past. Look not upon me, mortal, for you might experience disappointment even though I am hot, and you'll quickly decide that is more important than war crimes."
Yeah, that's kind of how he sounds through the whole thing. I was here for it. I was laughing as I read
I do
your
it
notes.
multiple times, so there's more time, more opportunities.
Keep it up. Kingfisher then makes her hold out her hand, and he places something in it, and it starts to burn her. She's like, please stop, but he won't because she has to listen to it. So it's burning her so hard that she's like screaming, but he's talking her through it, and finally she hears a voice saying, "Amaranth more." So she opens her hand to see the Quicksilver is now liquid in her hand. As long as she is touching him or like his pendant, she's safe. So not from the burning, I guess, but she wills the Quicksilver to still, and then she punches him in the mouth.
Fair. I mean, good for her. This is where I was like, okay, I guess she can handle this dude's massive I'm a huge dick energy, because it is massive and not a good way.
Yeah.
This guy is mean in a way that's a little too much for me.
Yeah, this is like, oh no, Tabitha's not going to like this. But it was too late. I already told you guys to read it.
Yep, we were already well down that hole.
Yeah, 10 chapters in, nothing we can do.
Sorry.
We have to stop now. No, never do that.
Turn it off. So the next day, Lane is trying to get Saris to tell her why she punched Kingfisher, and she's like, your brother's a dick, that's the reason. Lane tells her to shush because not everyone knows that they're related. They're actually technically step siblings, since Kingfisher was born to a southern lord before King Bellican declared Kingfisher's dad a traitor, because he thinks that Kingfisher's dad stilled the Quicksilver. Then the king married Kingfisher's mom, who died after she had Lane.
So they're half siblings then?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Not
Got
step
it.
siblings.
All right. No,
not
that's
bad.
fair.
Kingfisher brings Saris breakfast. He can be nice sometimes. His lip is still like split, and he licks the blood off of it. Very hot. Saris feels tingly until Fisher says that the Fae have a very good sense of smell.
This book goes so hard with the Fae have a good sense of smell trope that it genuinely made me wonder how they live their lives without wanting to die.
Yeah.
Right? Like they can smell everyone's pussy, dick, and balls and asses all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
I kept thinking to myself, what are you smelling every day? And how do you live your life like that?
Yeah.
It must be so horrific.
Yeah, I did think that too. And then after reading those two comments, I was like trying to explain it in my head. And I'm like, maybe it's like when someone's cooking and like for a second you walk in the room and you're like, oh my God, cookies. And then eventually the smell just like fades away in your senses.
It's not even that. It's like they can smell it going on for months, right? Like if they smell something, like we get into it, there's a plot point about that. Like not only can I smell this really well, but I can smell that you've done it or gotten tingly.
Yeah.
And had sex like multiple days ago. Yeah. If not weeks. Months
and he
even.
says he can like smell things miles away.
I know, so. I'm like, how? What are you?
So, yeah. So Sirius gets to the forge, and Kingfisher is hot and sweaty as he works. He's melting stuff down to bind the Quicksilver to it in order to make another relic, like his pendant. She like guesses, and he smiles. So they're like, you know, getting to know each other. She then screams when a white fox in the window of the forge spooks her, and Kingfisher grabs his sword to protect her. See? He's turning over a leaf.
He cares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fox bites her leg and decides that it likes her and lets her go. I don't talk about the fox anymore from here on out because I thought it was going to be a big plot point. But basically, it's just like her pet.
Yeah,
like
it
a
just becomes her
Disney
pet.
like princess sidekick.
I genuinely thought it was going to be like a person
Yeah,
or
me
something.
too.
But no, it's just a fox.
Yep, just there, kind of like a little dog.
At this point, I started reeling about infection. Like, okay, fine. Say there's no magic fairy version of rabies. There could be, number one, some other magical infection, and number two, just a general infection of getting bit by a wild animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing in this world. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, he does actually talk about it later.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my God, the things I don't remember.
It's because like so much happens and it's hard to remember. Anyways, he takes his shirt off to reveal all of his tattoos, including like a wolf's head in the center of his chest.
How butch.
You know, at least it's not all swirly doodles.
Yeah, that is true.
I used to, in high school, I used to do the most ridiculous swirly doodles.
As like...
Yeah, in the margins. They look like what you would think tribal tattoos look now, just on paper. Because I was just freaking bored. And tribal tattoos didn't really exist back then. But that's all I can think about is my stupid swirly doodles that I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So they try to forge things together or melt things together. They fail at it. So she suggests that he let her analyze his pendant, but he refuses to take it off because remember, it keeps him sane. So he sits on the stool and she stands between his legs as she examines it. While she does it, he tells her that Fae senses are more sensitive than humans, so he can hear her heartbeat and it's going crazy. He pulls her closer till their hips are touching, but she panics and asks to be let go, and he releases her. He's like, "Don't worry, I've fucked plenty of humans before." And she's like, "I thought you hated us." And he's like, "Oh, I don't hate you. I'm just sad because humans are really breakable and you wouldn't survive the fucking I want to give you."
Ew.
Yeah, great.
You mean you don't like being insulted when you're being flirted with?
Or just the suggestion that like sex is something to survive,
Yeah,
not
right.
enjoy.
I know.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Well, as we said before, the only kind of sex they have in these books is
Jackhammering.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. She tries to punch him again, rightfully so. And he's like, "You could just like kiss me instead." And she's like, "You're rude. Why would I do that?" And he's like, You won't do it." So she does. And it's an amazing kiss. And he smells like mint and smoke for you book boyfriend candle makers out there.
Again, it's always two things that they smell like: oranges and sage, cedar and cut grass.
For the record, smelling like smoke is gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she means like campfire, but you could also interpret that as cigarette smoke.
Even so, campfire smoke. Like if you're just sitting next to a campfire for even a little bit and it gets on your skin and your
Yeah, it's
clothes,
on you
and
forever.
It smells awful after 5 minutes.
Yeah, but she's into it because she straddles him and he's like, "I can't keep my promise to stay still if you're grinding on me like that." But she bounces on it crazy style, and then the next second she's like magically across the room. So she says she won't do it again, and he's like, "Okay, girl." And then he smiles with a little dimple.
You so love him.
I do love him. I know.
I read that note and I'm like, Emma's in love with this man.
I am. I won't deny it. So she's like, "Can you go get Ren to walk me back because we can't be together right now?" And he's like, "Okay, promise to wait in the forge while I do this." But instead she runs through the palace and looks for the Quicksilver pool. The Quicksilver voices like help guide her when she gets lost through all of the tunnels and stuff. So she finds it and awakens the pool. But right as she's about to step in, Kingfisher appears in a wall of black sand.
I was like, sand? What?
Yeah, it's like sandy smoke. I don't know. It like
Okay.
goes in between those two descriptions.
Okay.
She tries to push his sword away, but it burns her hand. Only the person sealed to the sword can touch it. It's a magic sword. It's important for later. He's pissed. While they were kissing, Sarah stole his ring in order to make it through the Quicksilver safely. And he's like, "You idiot, I lied about the ring. It doesn't work. Only the pendant works. So you would die if you went through that." And she's like, "I need to see my brother. I'd rather die than help the Fae." And he's like, "Fine, I'll get you one human and then you will shut up and do what you're told." And she's like, "Okay, go get Hayden." So they make this blood pack. Okay. The terms: Kingfisher will try to get her brother and Sirius will help him in any way he asks and do as she's told. He leaves and uses her blood to sniff out Hayden. And in an hour she has to like open the pool for him again. And like another thing, she has this little aside about how there's like no way to tell time down there, so she's just like going off of vibes. Then she gets like distracted by the fox, which very relatable for me. All these books are like, wait 10 minutes and then do this, but no one has like a watch or like a sundial. Like I couldn't tell you how long an hour or like 10 minute feels because they're the same to me. It's super unrealistic that they're like, wait an hour and then just reopen. We're in this like dark room where there's no time, but you'll know that somehow. Like I would have to count 60 Mississippis and then like do it 100 more times. Like I'd probably forget what number I'm on and then mess it up and then this guy would be dead. Like one time I drove to the beach for vacation and it took 8 hours, but it felt less than like a 3-hour drive. Because time's fake, y'all.
It is relative.
Yeah.
As they all say. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So somehow, though, she guesses correctly and opens the portal and Kingfisher comes through it with a human. Except that human is Carrion Swift.
I have so much to say about this, but it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Saris is pissed as all hell and she's like, what the heck? And Kingfisher says, I got stabbed 7 times and I got this human for you and now we have to leave. So he commands her to be quiet and get on this horse, and she does, despite not liking horses. Relatable. She's confused as to why she's doing what he says, till he reminds her of the bargain that they made. She's like, you ass, you tricked me. And Kingfisher is like, I taught you a lesson about the fairy realm, girl. Always read the fine print. They ride through a haunted forest where ghosts are cursed to relive their last memories over and over. But don't worry, they were like terrible criminals when they were alive.
Says who? The government? Who determines they're terrible criminals? What do they do?
I don't know.
Petty theft?
No, he like basically alludes to them all being like rapists and like serial murderers. Yeah. So anyways, they get to an inn and wait for Wren to meet up with them. Fisher disinfects her burn from his sword and the bite from the fox with a shot of alcohol. And she's like, I thought you didn't give a shit about me. And he's like, I do care. You're important. Without you, I can't end the war.
This is like hours later. That is in her bloodstream already.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I'll protect you so you can help me protect my people. He tells her that they are traveling to his home, a small fiefdom at the edge of King Bellican's territory called Kalish. Fisher's dad warded his lands against Bellican, so they'll be safe there.
Okay, but pronounced the same way is Kalish, a messianic figure in the Klingon culture. Having been the first ruler of the Klingon Empire, he is mentioned in the Blood Oath, which is often said before battle as a call and response. Whom do we seek? Kalish. How do we find him? Together.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Great.
I think it's interesting, though. It's like either people do these things not realizing and they just accidentally put them in and it's just like coincidental, but or they do it because it's in their blood somewhere. Like they saw it and
yeah, like subconsciously.
Subconscious. And they don't recognize that it's not their own little creation. They're just pulling it from somewhere else by accident.
Like the Beauty and the Beast scene that like happens later.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was on purpose or just like
it could have been on purpose. It could have been coincidental because you know, who hasn't seen Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
And,
I think this one is probably not on purpose.
Yeah. So anyways, he's like, I'm gonna take you to this active war zone, and she's like, I thought you were supposed to protect me, and he's like, I will if you stay close. So force proximity trope activated. Wren arrives and is like, dude, Bellican's gonna kill you. Like, you took the sword and the alchemist. And Fisher's like, the last time Bellican had a sword, he killed the true king, Rurik Dianthus. I actually don't know how to say his name. So
I thought you listened to the audio.
I didn't. I told you I listened to it for like 1%. Yeah. And then I went back to reading because I realized I couldn't listen and take notes at the same time. It just like washed over me.
I would say Dianthus.
Dianthus? Okay.
Yeah, it's Dianthus. I mean, that's a flower, but
well, I'm an idiot who doesn't know anything, so
talking about things that you probably have heard and then put it in the book by accident.
Yeah,
Dianthus,
right.
The flower.
This is like only important for the end of the book. It never really gets mentioned again that there's a true king, so keep that in mind. They get noticed at this inn and people start praising Kingfisher and his warriors for saving everyone, and they all start cheering for Kingfisher until he gets like super awkward and he rushes out of the inn.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's got feelings, guys. He's not just a dick.
He has so many whoa feelings. It's great.
Yeah. This reminds me of the time that like a whole ski lodge is saying happy birthday to me. Have I told you this story?
No.
Sounds like another rich kid story, like the golf cart one. What happened in the ski lodge?
Yeah, let's hear about it.
My birthday is usually on Martin Luther King Day weekend, and we would always go skiing for
Adorable.
For that weekend. Yeah. So
where did you go?
Whitest activity we could do?
Yeah. So anyways, because of that, when we were like skiing on my birthday, like it got not forgotten, but in my house, when it's your birthday, everyone wakes you up and sings you happy birthday, and you get like this special plate where you eat breakfast like, to make it a fun day. But I was 12, and because we were somewhere else, it didn't happen. So I was like very upset and angsty as a young preteen. So the whole day I was a big bitch. And at lunch, everyone was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "It's my birthday, and no one has sang happy birthday for me or done anything." And so this one guy who's like kind of my uncle was like, "Well, that's unacceptable." So he stands up on like our little table that we were sitting at, and he literally stands on top of it and like at loud as he can sings happy birthday to me. And so you can drink at ski lodges, so all these drunk people start chiming in, and then everyone in the ski lodge starts chiming in, and every person in the ski lodge sings happy birthday, ski lodge. And when it gets to my name, since they don't know who I am, no one says anything. They're just like, meh, meh. Happy birthday to you. And I'm mortified. So I never asked anyone to sing me happy birthday again.
I was going to say, this is really just a story about you expressing your emotions and being publicly shamed for it.
Yeah.
Because your family made a weird
Yep.
ritual out of a thing and then made you expect that ritual.
Yeah.
And then they didn't do it for you and then told you were being weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my family's like, "Why can't you express emotions normally?" I'm like, well, let's break that down. So back to this non-skiing area. Kingfisher opens a shadow gate and makes Saris walk through it with the blood oath before she passes out from like extreme vertigo from the shadow gate. Ren tells her that Kingfisher is a dick because the Quicksilver is in him. And not to sound rude, but I'm not totally sure that that's an excuse.
Yeah, it's like having a chronic pain disease. It is a reason for you being the way you are, but not an excuse.
Yeah.
Just like when men are like, the testosterone made me do it.
I'm going to start using that on like certain segments of my period, my menstrual cycle. Like, I have more testosterone now, so I can be a dick. So Saris wakes up, and Carrion is also finally awake, and he tells her that Hayden is alive and safe in a better ward. And then he tells her that everything is actually normal in the ward. No one was killed, and life moved on without her. So no one cared about her. Later, Kingfisher and Saris get into an argument, and she makes him promise that he'll release her from the blood oath and allow her and Carrion to return to the human realm when he has enough relics to protect his people from the Quicksilver. Then Fisher gives her a tour of his home.
Yeah, I went straight Pride and Prejudice here, thinking of him just walking through and being like, "And here's the drawing room. You may notice the painting of the master, which is very fine indeed." And I was like, yeah, that's great. I love that. Like that thought.
And they talk about walking, and it's really romantic.
Yeah, they're like, "Look at this statue."
Well, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And you've got to show her future house.
Yeah.
It's like, here's where I keep the library. Like, the library?
Yeah,
I love reading.
Yeah.
He's like, how? How do you love reading?
She's like, well, I am a woman, but I can read. So they encounter this little like fire sprite who works in his home, and they're all like made of charcoal. It seems Kingfisher is very nice and kind to the fire sprites that serve his home.
That's what all slave owners say.
Oh God, the way I cackled. Oh my God.
I don't know if they're technically slaves or not. It's not said.
We don't get a lot of details. We just know that they're excited to work for him.
Yeah.
Well,
very
they're excited he's back. They walk through a magic door and enter the forge. He has almost 15,000 rings for his soldiers that she has to make relics out of. So she gets to work learning to manipulate the Quicksilver and smelting it with other metals, but she isn't able to make anything yet. Ren comes to get her later and tells her that he is making Fisher have dinner with her tonight because Fisher needs to get to know her better, and then he'll be nicer to her.
He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's how it works, obviously.
Yeah, duh. So at dinner, Saris and Kingfisher sit at opposite ends of a very long table. She's annoyed and moves, so she is sitting next to him. Two sprites come in and get very excited about where Saris is sitting.
This is definitely the Beauty and the Beast chapter.
Yeah, it reads like that, totally. So she tells him he should let Carrion go back to her world. He's like, I didn't think he'd be your type. And she's like, what? And he's like, well, I found him because of your scent. And Saris is like, yeah, the blood from the pact. And he's like, but I also had another scent in my nose from you grinding all over me. And Carrion smelled just like that.
This is so fucked up. They had sex like once, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably like a month ago, I think.
So this is where I'm like, what is he, part dog? Also, 2 months ago is wild to me. Like you're keeping scent that long. Also, if your sense of smell is that fucking good, shouldn't you know that she wouldn't be having sex with her brother, you massive perv? That is immediately where my brain went. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's theoretically supposed to be smelling their similar blood
Yeah.
and not her fucking pussy
Exactly.
on him.
Yes. This is all I could think about. I was like, why are you picking up the dude that she had sex with, not her brother? Shouldn't you have known what blood smells like versus what pussy juice smells like? Because they smell completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
You know, this could have very easily been remedied too. That Carrion still had Hayden's blood on him from getting into a fight.
Yeah, that could have easily been the thing. But no, she chose this weird, like, oh, clearly you have sex with your brother side tone.
yeah. Okay, moving on. Before he can continue talking about her Oda vagina, the windows explode and 4 skeletal zombie-like creatures climb in. They have red eyes, white skin, long claws, and fangs. The monsters attack, and when Sarah slices one open, maggots fall out. That's not important. I just thought it was gross. Kingfisher cuts the head off of one before it's able to bite her. He cuts off the head of another monster who seems to like be a teen, and then the fight's over. Sarah throws up. He tells her that those creatures are called feeders, and the only thing that can kill them is silver. She passes out, and he carries her in his arms. She wakes up in Fisher's room. He's there. It's his room. And he's impressed that she landed a few hits on one of the feeders. Then he calls her a weak human while he holds a strand of her hair. You know, romantic style. They argue, and she tries to get out of bed, but he's like, you're still healing. And then he commands her to stay in bed with the oath. She can only get out to go to the bathroom. He leaves for 5 days, and she's stuck in bed the whole time. So Carrion visits her and tells her that Kingfisher made him bathe because he didn't like how he smelled. He says that the water sprites helped him bathe and gave special attention to his crotch. And Sarah says, quote, you let a fire sprite jerk you off? Hey, Rebecca, you taking notes? Like, this is how you do a little world building and how you use modern slang without saying fuck and clit every paragraph.
She means Rebecca Yarros.
Yeah,
To be specific.
Yeah. A lot of slander at her in this book.
Yes, but why does he still smell like vagine?
Yeah, I'm still like completely mystified as to why he thought her brother smelled like her vagina. Like,
Okay.
I need someone to explain.
I can't let this go on any longer, but I wanted to let you guys have your fun. So, there's no water in the third ward for them to bathe, so like they all smell terrible and like can't wash anything off. They only use it to drink basically. So hold on. So he would still smell like her vagina. And also during the Beauty and the Beast dinner last scene, Fisher says that he was like so rushed when he was looking for Hayden that he couldn't like distinguish what he was smelling. He thought he was smelling the blood because he was so rushed, but actually it was her pussy juices, as Maura said.
Okay, well, that still shows that the pussy juices are still there. And to your point, like, you realize your skin sloughs things off.
Yeah.
Like, you lose skin cells, you have oil that you wipe down. Like, they might not have water, but I'll bet that they, like, rotate their fucking clothing out.
Yeah, maybe.
Or, like, wipe themselves off with a rag, especially after you've just had sex. It's the length of time that bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, if it had been a couple of days, I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. They're in the desert. Months?
Yeah, I think it was like at least a month.
That stank.
Yeah.
Also, I just don't believe it. Like, it's like, I accept your explanation as an explanation. I don't think it's the correct one because on top of that, like, this dude is supposed to have really good smell. If he can smell miles off, like, how is he mistaking blood for pussy? That's my question.
I don't know.
And then I'm still back with, like, why did you pick this dude up and not the other one?
Carrion also says that he's Hayden because Kingfisher like tracks down the smell and is like, who are you or something, and or like, are you Hayden or so? I don't know what he asked.
Yeah, and Carrion being Carrion's like, yeah, totally, it's me.
Because later on or somewhere within here, Saris and Hayden or Saris and Carrion talk about this, and she was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why did you say you were Hayden? And he was like, I don't know. I thought I was protecting your brother. You should be happy and nice to me. Yeah. The sense of smell is too strong. I will concur. Like, You can't live like that.
No.
Anyways, remember, she was stuck in bed for 5 days, but the oath magically releases her when she's fully healed and she goes to
Another
work.
question. Could she pee in bed?
No, he says you can leave to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay,
only.
good.
Yeah,
That's-
so she doesn't wet the bed constantly and poop in it, I guess. So, Ren comes to chat. She asks about Kingfisher's sword and why it's like so special. And he says that it's the only god sword left. All of the other swords get quiet. They're like magic. Okay, so he tells her that Fisher is back and she has to go to dinner with him again. So she makes Ren and Carrion go too. Kingfisher is pissed about the new guests. When Saris moves her place setting closer to Fisher and then sits down on the right of him, Ren like spits his wine out. He's so surprised. He even tries to get her to move seats, but Fisher says it's fine. So this seat placement is very important. Saris invites herself to train with the Fae and Carrion tomorrow. Kingfisher tries to use the oath to force her to eat something, but she tells him it's wrong. He says he'll only use it to protect her, and he's like, if I was really being evil, I'd use it to put you on your knees. And it's some fucked up kind of flirting, but I highlighted it.
I don't think any one of us, including our listeners, are surprised, to be honest with you.
Nope. So they leave the next morning for the front line. They're positioned across the frozen river from the enemy's fortress. They train, and Carrion's like actually funny, guys.
Yeah, Carrion's great. Perfectly fine. No threats of sexual assault under the guise of flirting at all.
Honestly, Carrion's the only reason I would continue to read more in this series. He's my favorite character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fisher and Saris eat a meal together in his tent. She starts noticing how aware of him she is, like his scent she can smell, and how she gets like sad when he's not around. Then they get into an argument, because of course they do, and during it, she just asks him to trust her. Suddenly, he magics away their dinner, and then they're making out.
I remember thinking about this while I was reading, and at what point is magic so powerful? I think about this with Reese, too. At what point is magic so powerful that it just sort of negates all day-to-day concerns and the fundamental reality you live in? Like, was the food magic? Did it go somewhere else? Or has it completely vanished? Was the food ever real? Can you gain nutritional value from incorporeal food?
Yeah.
Oh, great questions.
Those are all good questions. And one thing that I was thinking about that, too, in Silver Flames.
Yeah.
The Akatar Silver Flames book, is that happens all the time. The house that she's in is constantly feeding her. Like, the food that just appears, the house apparently made out of magic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was constantly questioning, like, is this real food or is like magic itself sustenance? What is this?
I don't know. There's no like servants in that world.
There weren't.
So
The house was the
house
servant.
is the servant.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, they're kissing now. They grind against each other like a drunk couple. It's gross. Then they're across from each other because he had to magic her away because he can't trust anything.
It's very dramatic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's like, but I cannot. Woe is I, an emotionally unavailable, brooding war criminal.
Saris leaves too, and she finds Ren, who takes her to the war tent. She's sitting by Carrion in a vibe that feels very similar to the hobbits during the first gathering of the Fellowship. Carrion's like, girl, your neck's bleeding. And she's like, oh, that's weird. The war meeting starts, and everyone has a lot of mixed feelings about Fisher being back. Danya, the only woman warrior, is pissed because she thinks he deserted them. She tries to slice his throat, and he just like lets it happen. But Saris stops the sword by splintering it into thousands of pieces with her magic.
Of course. The one other woman we are meeting that is a warrior is irrational and jealous.
Mm-hmm. Then chaos breaks out and the feeders are about to attack. So 50,000 feeders are trying to cross the icy river. The Fae are trying to break the ice while others prepare to fight. Fisher uses his magic to drown some. The creatures pause their attack. Then a man on the vampire side named Malcolm, with white skin and long hair, yells out for Fisher that he misses him and makes it seem like Fisher is like in cahoots with the vampires.
I might be remembering this inappropriately, but
No.
I remember it being like, I miss you sexually.
Yeah, no. Malcolm has a lot of like weird tones in his comments and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. At the end, he's like, I love Fisher. He'll be with me forever type thing. So, yep. You did not make that up at all.
Okay.
Yep. Fisher finds Saris later and pulls her through a shadow gate to his bedroom in the house. He tells her that Malcolm is a high Fae vampire. When the Fae were cursed to drink blood a long time ago, some didn't take the cure and stayed vampires so they could be immortal. Malcolm is the strongest of them, so he's the only one that can fully turn someone into a vampire. When the other vampires bite people, they turn into the feeders, which are like zombie vampires, basically. She asks if he was with Malcolm when he was stuck in the Quicksilver, but Fisher's like bound by magic, so he literally can't tell her. She's like, oh my God, you're only a dick to people so they don't get close to you. Wait, do you actually like me? I know there's something between us. I can feel it. You want to bite me. You almost did it before. And Fisher's like, that is a very scandalous thing to say when you don't understand what it means. And then she's like, show me. So he kisses her again. Their shirts come off his time. He's touching her boobies. He magics away the rest of her clothes and eats her out. She comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
He also uses his shadows to make it like dark in the room, and then he fucks her. While they have sex, some of his tattoos like transfer to her, and then they both come one after another. Oh, I also wanted to mention that he's very into breath play / like having a hand on her neck. I started to get like even more nervous about wrecking this. I was like, oh God, they're gonna be upset with me.
I am militantly 100% against choking during sex.
Yeah.
Normally, I think so long as everyone is consenting, go for it. Do whatever. But there is so much baggage around a man choking a woman. First of all, it has killed a lot of people during sex. Mm-hmm. And second, men choking women in a relationship at any point is a really high indicator for escalating violence.
Yeah, it's definitely a, what do you call it? It's like an earmark for when you can tell that the relationship may or may very well end in death.
Yeah.
But I was also incredibly put off by the choking. I'm not gonna lie. Also, what gumption to choke someone the first time you have sex, just out of nowhere. No talk about it, no consent. Just gonna do this to you. You're gonna think it's hot because I'm hot, and obs, you're gonna love it.
Well, and the fact that she just rolls with it, considering in this short storyline, she has been choked
twice,
non-sexily, twice before.
There's 3 chokings in this, and I'm like, Jesus. I was like, where did this even come from?
I don't know.
Porn.
Yeah. Porn. Mm-hmm. So he gets dressed and leaves to go back to camp, and she's just there. She comes to camp and cusses Fisher out over her new tattoos, and he's like, sorry, I can't take them back. He then tries to bring her to the healer for a Plan B potion, and she's like, I don't need that. I can't have kids. They, like, spay 7 out of the 10 girls in the 3rd ward, and then Fisher gets really mad about it.
So it's really mad, like, and they're going to take away my future wife's ability to bear my heirs. Like, but do you really think Fisher would be into adoption or no?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
don't know. They don't talk about kids at all, really.
I know, but it's also like it's put in there with the assumption that like she's gonna bear his kids at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think she's gonna get pregnant in another movie?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like based on how she ends the book with like her specialness, I'm like, I'm sure she magically gets healed.
Oh man, she totally regenerated a uterus, didn't she?
Yeah. So she goes to the forge and chats with Carrion. She's like, you've been awfully chill about this Fey realm thing that I brought you into. And he's like, well, my grandma taught me all about the Fey. She had this like storybook that said, never forget, monsters thrive best in the dark. Commit all you read here to memory. Prepare for war.
Great children's tale. 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. This book also starts with those lines. Ceres learns that the sword she magically ripped apart used to be one of those special god swords. And like I hate to say it, but every time they talk about these god swords, I'm picturing those like gigantic swords from anime or like Final Fantasy. That's my only reference for swords, to be honest. So Danya and this other guy, Lorith, are Kingfisher's wolves, which are like one of his special 8 soldiers. And they all used to have those special magic swords.
Yeah, it's their team name.
Yeah.
We are wolves.
Yeah. They all have like I don't know, paraphernalia. That's not the word I wanted to use.
Yeah.
Merch. We'll say that. Yeah. Wolf merch. So they're all excited because now that they have an alchemist, they can all have these special god swords again. So she has a year to create these god swords, or else Malcolm and the vampires will win the war. I don't know.
Since when are wars on time constraints?
I think in it they talk about how the front line where they're at, they're like slowly dying.
Right.
So it'll take a year for them to like die in all these battles.
It's always funny to me because it's like you have to have a ticking clock somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is the ticking clock. But it's like there could have been a different way to put that. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yep. So just a quick recap. This girl has to figure out what metal to bind the Quicksilver to in order to create 7 magic god swords within a year, or else everyone dies. And she has to create 15,000 rings in order to be released from her oath. And then she'll be allowed home. Oh, and also she only has like 4 teaspoons of Quicksilver to use to make this. So
It feels very impossible tasks, like in folklore. Like there's so many various impossible tasks that you must complete to eventually become one of us Fae.
yeah. Yeah, that's how this is. So Kingfisher tells her that she is the most powerful alchemist ever because of course she is.
I'm sorry, but he can't say that. That's literally impossible to tell when she is the currently only extant alchemist. They can't compare her to anyone living or dead.
Yep.
Also, has she really been successful yet? Like I don't really
She
remember.
accidentally broke up that sword.
That's true.
Yeah, that's kind of where they're basing this off of. They're like, we've never read anything in history of that happening. But also earlier in the book, they say that all the alchemists like went crazy and killed themselves. And they also like didn't record information of what they did. So
maybe they did that all the time.
yeah, maybe she's not special, guys.
Maybe that's the first thing they all did was just like, well, break a sword. Like I can totally do that.
Yeah. And then they go crazy. So she realizes that all the metal she could feel was actually fragments from the Quicksilver in the other metal. And Queen Madra took all of the metal in the human realm, so no one could use it to use the Quicksilver. That's why it's actually like, precious. Later on, Lorth tells Ceres that Fisher can't lie because of some like religious oath. We also learn why people are so weird about their teeth in this realm. Lorth says it's a sex thing. If a male drinks from someone, it'll make his dick harder than it's ever been in his life. It makes you euphoric, both of you, while you're fucking.
Nice.
He also tells her how he became a part of Fisher's pack. He was a bard that Fisher found almost dead after he was attacked by a vampire, and Fisher gave him part of his soul to heal him. And if he dies first, the piece of his soul that Fisher gave him is returned. But if Fisher dies first, he is trapped as a ghost until Lorth dies thousands of years later.
So if Lorth got bit, why didn't he become a feeder?
I don't know. I think I knew, and then I forgot.
Okay.
So. But Lorth says if Fisher dies first, he'll kill himself so Fisher can have his soul back. Nice of him.
Yeah, very sweet.
Great.
A few days later, Fisher reappears and tells Ceres that they are going out for the night. They go to a little village called Ballard for a solstice party. It's always solstice.
Yeah, always solstice.
Yeah,
it's
it
never
is.
the equinox. Have you noticed that? Never equinox.
I know.
Justice
no
for equinoxes.
Christians here.
No. Well, no, but like, I don't know. Are there other pagan holidays that they can celebrate? Why is it always solstice?
Those are the ones that are commonly most celebrated in human worlds, like summer and winter solstice get the most attention.
Yeah.
And I guess they would think to themselves, everybody must love these holidays, pagan holidays. I don't know.
Maybe just because it's the most common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's our own pagan background.
Yeah. They chat about things like how fast Faye age and Ceres' stupid brother and how Fisher's like technically a lord. He disagrees because he has no people to lord over because they all became a vampire or ran away. He abruptly changes the topic because straight men don't do feelings, and he's like, like about the other night. And Ceres is like, oh, I just thought you were hate fucking me. And then out of nowhere, voices scream in Ceres' head. Again, they repeat Amaranth more. She's like, okay, we need to leave the party. So she asks Fisher what Amaranth more means, and he's like afraid of it, and he doesn't tell her. They then go to Fisher's mom's apartment and sleep in separate rooms.
This is the soft side of the gruff, brooding love interest chapter. Look, he's a person just like you and I.
He has feelings. He experiences fear.
He's a human. Well,
no,
he's not.
I know, but like,
don't you dare.
I know. He's actually a Fae male. Sorry. Can't believe I said human. Ceres is woken by Kingfisher's night terrors. His whole body is clenching up in pain and he can't move. She moves him so he's laying between her legs.
I used to get night terrors as a kid. He just needs a spoonful of peanut butter before bed. Some protein.
Does that actually help?
Yes.
Oh.
It prevents you from like having a sugar crash. I don't know if they have better advice now. That's what they told people back in the 80s.
Oh. I always feel like when I eat too close to when I go to bed, I have weirder dreams. But we're different people.
Yeah, I think it's just trying to prevent a crash like an hour or so after bed. I mean, I can't do it now because I'm an adult and I get acid reflux if I do that, but
just specific advice for children.
Yeah. So any children listening out there, make sure you eat
Oh God, what are you doing here?
Yeah, number one, please don't listen.
No, it's
So-
fine. I know someone who listens to this with our children, so
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
yeah,
Well,
they're.
I'm not stopping
It's
saying
just like-
pussy.
It's like, well, they're. Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's
Yeah.
your children, I guess. He is like, thanks, but I'll compel you to leave me alone with this oath. And she's like, if you care for me at all, you'll never fucking force me to do anything through the oath again. And he's like, roger that. They then spend 4 hours lying together while Fisher suffers in pain. You know,
Ah,
romantic.
poor man.
I know.
Poor female.
So she realizes he's in pain because of the Quicksilver, and the chanting of Amaranth more that she hears is actually coming from the bits of Quicksilver that are still stuck inside him. He's like, please tell me something to distract me. Tell me something real. So she tells him about her traumatic past. Her mom was like a prostitute to make money to save her and her brother. So she would be like out doing her job at night, and then she would be like making weapons for these rebels, and they taught Ceres how to fight, and Ceres had to like raise her brother. Then one day a guardian slits her mom's throat right in front of her, and the guards also like degrade her body afterwards. So just terrible.
Great bedtime
It's
story.
amazing bedtime story. It's real though, Tabitha.
Yeah, Tabitha, it's real.
Nothing else is real. Trauma is real.
And he's touched by it because he snuggles up with her and says, my mom was killed too, and then falls to sleep.
Relatable content.
Then the next morning, or whenever they wake up next, they fuck. They like talk to each other in their minds, and she tells him to bite her. He bites her. They orgasm. It's great.
Why always with the talking psychically in these books? I don't want a guy in my house, let alone my brain.
It's a check off the trope. They can check.
Why are people into it though?
I don't know.
Psychic talking. Check.
I don't want people in my head, to be honest.
Yeah, it's weird.
The next morning, he brings her breakfast, and she has more tattoos on her body. She has runes that cover her hands, and then she also has script writing that encircles her wrists. He hides them with magic and says that the marks are chosen for her, but she could decide not to accept them, and then they'd be gone forever. Ceres is back at the forge. She's going crazy because she thinks the Quicksilver is mocking her, because remember, it can like talk to her. Carrion's like, you should ask it to meld with something. And she's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, but I'll try it. So she talks to the shards of the god sword that are stuck in the wall, and they're like, we want a song, sing to us, and we'll do what you want. So she says someone will sing for it if she can reforge it. And the Quicksilver is like, deal. We get a song, you get a sword, fair trade. And she's like, okay, well, like, what about becoming a magic sword, huh? Like, what do you think about that? And the Quicksilver is like, no, it's undeserved. No one's worthy. And she's like, how do you know? Have you met every person in the world? And it's like, you're making great points here. Fine. We get a song, you get a sword, and then we'll taste the blood of the person who will wield the sword, and then we'll decide if they're worthy of magic, you know? Because this is all logical and makes sense. Then
Of course.
yeah
The silver stuff talks and
Yeah.
it wants a song.
yeah so then the shards fall out of the wall, and Lorth uses his magic to help them carry it to the forge. Lorth creates a hilt. Ceres works all day long, and like, this girl's got to be jacked, right? Like, don't you need muscles to forge, like to do blacksmithing things? Or am I just stereotyping them when I picture them all as burly men?
It's a good point. Is she working as a blacksmith and still a waif? I remember one time I had this giddy little waif of a guy as a waiter, and he tried to bring out a milkshake, and the glass cup was like trembling violently in his hand. I had to like rush to support him.
His delicate bones.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it.
I don't know. I think I was thinking to myself that she was just mostly sweet talking it, like gently, just like, how about you just move over here? And this Quicksilver's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
And like, is she really like banging
No,
on
she
metal?
is.
Okay.
Yeah. Because she does it for like a full day. She like
Okay.
folds the sword into itself multiple times.
Fair enough.
And I'm like,
she's got to be jacked. Though.
Yeah.
It's the only the only thing that makes sense.
so anyways, she uses her muscles, I guess, to finish it, and lets Lorth hold it. And Aurora Borealis lights up outside. Fisher says it's a blessing, and then Lorth sings. The Quicksilver in the sword talks to everyone and says it picks Lorth to wield it. He's like embarrassed and so sorry because technically it's supposed to be Danya's sword. Ceres is like, Lorth, you gave the sword a song, so it makes sense that it would pick you. And everyone is confused except for Fisher. I don't know. And then she realizes that the Quicksilver took the song from everyone's memory, but she can still remember because she's an alchemist. Lorth then names the sword, and then light shoots up out of it into the heavens.
I am She-Ra,
Yeah, basically.
princess of power.
Yeah. So she falls asleep later while Kingfisher is bathing her and washing her hair.
So this is like the obligatory love interest washes the main character's hair. So this is another, we can check this off the list of tropes that this book has fallen into.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to wash my hair. It's curly. You got to do specific things.
They're laying in bed and she talks to the Quicksilver in Fisher's head. It's like, we can't leave him because we saved his life and we're bound to him. He has to live so he could fulfill his promise. And Fisher agreed to this. She's like, okay. Renfist busts in and says the vampires are fucking shit up again. Ceres demands to help fight this time, but she swears she'll stay by Fisher's side and run when he says to.
Like, what the fuck is she going to do?
Be inspirational. But no, remember, she can fight in human world, and that will clearly transfer to fighting immortal fae vampires with super strength, obviously.
Yeah, so Fisher gives her the sword that she pulled from Queen Madra's Quicksilver pool. And I don't know why, but I like what Fisher and Ren tell her before they all go into battle. They say, be unrelenting and unmerciful in the face of the wicked dead. And if you should find souls sundered from flesh, order a drink for us at the first tavern you come across in the afterlife. We'll settle the tab when we get there.
It's their Klingon blood oath.
Yeah, basically. The feeders try to cross the river, but they all fall in and drowned. Oh, and instead of the like feeder zombie vampires being all men like most zombies are, they're described as like anyone you've ever met. Like she describes a zombie maid and a zombie grandpa and a zombie woman with like a dead baby. It's really fucked up. Again, I was worried because I told you both to read this and I was like, oh no, Mara's really not gonna like this.
Yeah, I don't even remember a lot of this anymore, but I do remember that dead baby.
Yeah,
it's not great.
No.
It's a little like in, is it first, maybe second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, the first battle that they have on the wall. It's like everything coming at them, like every kind of person that ever existed, every type of animal, just, you know, made into a nice zombie.
Yeah. But anyways, the feeders trick the fae and crawl out of the water onto the beach, Pirates of the Caribbean style. Fisher leaves her to fight with Ren, and he's like, Fisher will never forgive me if his sole reason for living is torn to pieces on her first fucking battle. So, Fisher loves her.
Yeah.
They fight some, and one of the vampires is about to bite her when time seems to slow down for her or something, and then she cuts its head off. Lorith's fancy magic sword can shoot raw energy out of it or something, and he's like killing all the monsters.
By the power of Grayskull.
It's pretty good. I was managing to kill just the monsters, just like swinging this sword around, shooting beams out of it.
Yep. I wonder if the beams are like rainbows.
That'd be cool. Gay sword. Sorry. So the Fae all chant Lorith's name, and then someone screams Kingfisher's name, and they look up and they see it's Everlane being held hostage by the vampires. So two things. I know I normally hate cliffhangers at the end of the chapter, but I feel like it works here and I can't really articulate why. And then there was talk sometime about making this into a TV show. And again, I'm a hypocrite, but I would watch the shit out of this. So Fisher and Lane shout across the river at each other. She's fine. Don't worry about it. But they do notice that she's wearing a gold collar and a leash. And a vampire is holding the leash, and his name is Taladeus. He's like a vampire prince somehow. The vampire is like, Fisher, come on over. We'll have some of that wine you like. My father bit your sister, so now she's enthralled to him. He knows you'll come over to save her or avenge her. And Fisher's like, where's your dad? And Taladeus says that he is where the two of them brokered their last deal. Best run along to catch him, dear Fisher, because Lane only has so long till she changes. And if she makes it through, she'll live the rest of her life on her back unless you give him what he wants, which is the alchemist.
See, now I was imagining these guys as the Volturi in Twilight.
I'm down for that.
So I imagine them all as Selene Sardathian as she appears on the original Throne of Glass paperback cover. She's got that silver white hair that's really long and the pasty white skin, and she doesn't look like a human being. She looks like an alien.
Yep.
That's what I think of them all looking like.
Yeah, I picture like them. Yeah, a combination of those two things. Volturi vibes, but just white all over. So Lane has like 3 days basically until she becomes a vampire for good if she drinks Malcolm's blood, or till she dies and then becomes a feeder. I don't know. Danya comes in talking about her sword. She just sucks is really the point of this. But she tries to take it from Lorith, and when she does, the magic of the sword burns her hand off.
Why is this character so fucking stupid?
I don't know.
Because she's a woman not related to Kingfisher or currently fucking Kingfisher, obviously. She has to be fucking stupid.
We can't have all
and
the
just
women
a
be
miserable
great.
human being who hates everyone and everyone hates her. And she's just a woman, unfortunately, in a world not related to the main character's love interest.
Yeah. So Fisher takes them to his house and they go through the library to see if they can save Lane. Coincidentally, Fisher's dad studied the blood curse, so they have all these books on it. But don't worry, they pause to do like a little ceremony for Ceres for fighting in her first battle, where they like all slice their hands and then press their bloody palms against her chest and like thank her. When Fisher does this, he says her name for the first time.
Again, infections, bloodborne pathogens.
Tabitha.
Those don't exist in this world, please.
So they go through the gate and Sarah sits in her seat at the dining table while waiting for everyone, the one that's like next to Fisher. Danya sees her and is like, wow, you really think you're important by sitting there, don't you? And Sarah is like, I don't know, what the fuck? And Danya's like, you ignorant slut. That seat is for Fisher's wife only. How disgraceful. And then Fisher and Ren are like, Danya, mind your business.
Yeah, fuck off with your one hand. Hey, Danya, look at what I can do.
Carrion shows up with a potted plant after napping through the whole battle, just like an icon. Ceres goes to the forge and has to bargain with the Quicksilver again to make a relic. It wants a secret this time. She tells it that she doesn't want to go home anymore. She wants to save her brother, and then come back to Fisher. The Quicksilver is like, perfect. Yes, you want to save him. You must save the Kingfisher. Save the Fey Realm.
I mean, like, yeah, like her organs finally have like fluid in them.
Yeah.
Of course she doesn't want to go back. Why would she want to go back?
Right. She has baths now. She can be clean. So she forges it into a ring, seals it with blood, and puts it on her finger. But immediately everything goes black and voices chant, Amaranth more, Amaranth more, until she takes it off. The healer shows up and Carrion hits on her and she's like, boy, I'm married. It's not going to happen. Ceres sees that her hands are covered with runes, like Ceres' own hands. She's like, oh, what pretty tattoos. The healer's like, oh, it's tradition in Fae culture for couples to get tattoos on their 5th wedding anniversary. Ceres is like, oh, so they never appear magically? And the healer's like, no, not anymore. The only time that happened is for true mates, but that stopped thousands of years ago. And Ceres is like, oh, cool. What about like other tattoos? And the healer's like, oh, there was like this romantic rubbish called God binding, and it appeared on people's wrists, but it means that one person in the couple dies, but it's just stories. And Ceres is like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go talk to Fisher. Okay, bye.
It's always mates.
Yeah.
You gotta check that fated mates trope off the list.
And like also like the Romeo and Juliet type trope, because one of them is destined to die.
One is destined to die.
Yeah. So she goes to Fisher's room and is like, you'll never believe what the healer told me. Why didn't you fucking tell me any of this? And he's like, I didn't tell you because I hated what you represented. And she's like, oh my God, are you a racist? He's like, no, you represent my vulnerability. I always knew you were going to appear and be my weakness.
I don't know. He talked a lot of shit about humans.
Yeah, he did.
He really did. Like, and this is very like, you're not like the others of your kind, therefore I can find it in myself to love you.
Yeah, it is. So he finally explains that the Oshelith butterflies that he keeps like, calling her are endangered species. Basically, they hatch once in a Fae lifetime, and when they do, the bravest soldiers use their body heat to help them live for a day. So because they're so special, Oshelith means most sacred. Also, I don't know, this was like a weird line. Names are like special in this tricksy fairyland, so he couldn't call her Ceres in case like something happened when he said it. I don't know. This is poor explanation.
She was really trying for some like the Cruel Prince type Fae dynamics in their politics and like how their world works, but she didn't quite get to that level where it made sense.
Yeah. He was like, I knew you were coming because my mom is an oracle, but when he tries to tell her more about it, he can't.
Whoa, my fragile human love. What pain my past might bring upon us both. I shall not speak of it, for the future is full of images of me weeping.
Yeah, that's the vibe. He's like, she didn't know your name, but only that you'd have black hair, and then I'd love you. She did think you were going to be Fae, and then when Fisher met her and her guts were like hanging outside her body, he felt the mating bond snap into place. So he was mad that fate already decided that they would be mates before they like actually wanted to be together.
So he knew they were mates, and he was a dick to her anyway. Cool.
Mhm.
That doesn't like
Just like another shadow fae
just
that
like
we
another
know.
shadow that we know.
Mhm.
But also that doesn't like I don't know have connotations for the future and how he'll treat her. I'm sure it's gonna be cool.
Yeah. It'll all work out, guys. It'll be fine. So, and then he's like, no one wants the god binding marks because it just means one of us will die. So I was unhappy about that too. And no one would want to be with Fisher because he's going crazy and he plans to kill himself before that happens. So again, like, why would he want to bond with her? He's been reading how to reject the bond in order to save her, and Ceres is pissed, which, like, I would be too. She says she's going to bed and she's going to research how to save Lane and him. The next day, everyone is researching and they decide that they need a witch, so off Ren, Fisher, and Danya go. Danya fucks it up and they send her away, but Fisher manages to convince the witch to come back with him. Ceres and Kingfisher go to his mom's apartment for the evening. He lit candles everywhere, and then he uses his magic to make the room dark so it's like the stars in the sky. And then they fuck for 3 hours.
Chafing.
Yeah, a lot. Things of note that happened during this sex scene is they like have a bloody kiss because his teeth like cut her lip while they were making out.
Finally.
She gives him a little BJ. They have sex for 5 rounds, which is like impressive stamina. So, oh, also Fisher got a new tattoo of wings, like butterfly wings on his throat. And he explains that he got it because he accepted her as his mate while he was inside her.
Ew.
Does the author specify if they're bird wings or butterfly wings?
I think they're supposed to be butterfly wings.
Okay. I don't know if that's better, but...
He says, I love you, but doesn't let her answer because he thinks she won't say it back.
As well, she shouldn't.
So she wakes up the next day, but Fisher is gone. There is a shadow gate, Fisher's god sword, and a note in the room. He starts off the note with, this may seem dramatic now, and it's dramatic later too, but he says that he's going to save Lane from the vampires, and he releases Ceres from her oath. He hopes to see her again in the afterlife. She goes back and tells everyone what a self-sacrificing idiot Fisher is being. Everyone's mad, but don't worry because Carrion has a plan. But first, he needs a god sword. So she makes one and he names it Simon.
Simon doing the Lord's work. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Carrion's plan is when Lane comes through the shadow gate, Carrion, Ceres, and Lorith go through it to the other side. When they do, they fall into a lake and then they have to climb up this cliff. They reach a giant amphitheater with thousands of people chanting Amaranth More. Lorith translates for the humans. It means release us. In the middle of the amphitheater is a labyrinth with Kingfisher at the bottom of a dais. Heron, the guard who I thought was a love interest, appears. His eyes are like metal orbs now, as if the Quicksilver fused with his body.
Seems unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. I thought for sure I was setting you up for a Wolverine joke, but never mind.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Heron takes them to where Fisher is. Malcolm is sitting on the dais next to King Belican and Queen Madra. Ceres is like, wait, I thought you hate her. Like, she stopped the Quicksilver portals from working. And King Belican is like, yeah, we know. We're all working together. I've been using the war as a way to feed Malcolm's army. And you're here to save Fisher, but he's a terrible person. Like, look at all these people that he killed. And then they notice that the stands are full of fae who have been burnt to a crisp, but somehow they're still alive. Then Belican releases Fisher from his oath that forced him to keep the deal he made with the 3 of them secret. So Fisher tells Ceres and crew what happened. And this is the story. He and his 7 soldiers arrived at Gilthry as 20,000 vampires were attacking the town. Fisher left his soldiers to find Malcolm and kill him for good, but instead he found Belican leading the vampires. Malcolm appeared and Fisher realized that they were working together. Fisher knew he wouldn't win the battle, so he tried to bargain instead. He could take the king in a fight or ruin him by spreading the info that he was working with Malcolm. So Belican proposed a coin toss that neither of them could influence with magic, and until the toss was decided, Fisher couldn't harm them or tell anyone about them, or this. They would decide what to do based on the face of the coin after it hits the ground. So heads, the vampires would leave immediately and no one else would be harmed, or tails, the vampires take the city and Fisher would have to fight the king at a different time. He tossed the coin, but Malcolm caught it.
What the fuck? How is that fair?
He didn't use it with magic.
Yeah.
He can catch it without, and that's,
Lame.
I guess, just totally fine.
Yeah. Well, Fisher said, always read the fine print.
Yeah, see, again, it's trying to do that, like, Cruel Prince Faye.
Yeah, Faye are
thing.
tricksy. Yeah. The vampires continue to attack, and Fisher burned the city and the people inside before they could all become vampires and add to Malcolm's army. So this is the explanation of the war crime. Then Malcolm took the coin and hid it in the center of the labyrinth, so Fisher had to find it and make it fall in order to finish the deal, which would then allow him to kill Bellican and free the townspeople of their like weird purgatory that they're in, because they can't die until the coin falls either. So all the people he thought he burned and like saved are stuck in this weird purgatory. So it takes Fisher 55 years to get to the center of the labyrinth, and then another 55 years returning to the center to try to find the coin. And he never finds it.
So from what I recall of the book, it's because there's a bunch of other coins.
Yeah.
It's like a big mound of coins at the center, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
like a
So that's
lake
why,
of coins.
That's why it takes him that long to get to the center, and then more time to sort through them.
Yeah, the labyrinth like changes every time he goes through.
Oh.
The first 10 like turns are always the same, but as he gets closer to the middle, every time he goes through, Malcolm like changes it. So once he finally like figures out how to get to the center, which takes him 55 years, he then like has to continue trying to return back to the center and then trying to find the coin.
Okay.
So, I don't know. One day during this 110 years that he's trying to do this, a pool of Quicksilver appears and Fisher jumps into it.
All right. So this story, this background, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand the motivations of these people. Like the Madra, Bellicon, and whatever the hell the vampire's name is. Malcolm. I generally don't remember what their goals are or if they had any. And also a coin toss.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so you could just kill the dude, but instead you're going to let this guy talk you into a coin toss that you're going to lose because you yourself were not looking at the fine print. And then all of these people die, and that's all your fault because you stumbled into this trick when you could have just killed him. I don't know. I just don't understand what the motive was for this guy or why he's on the vampire side. What is the deal with Madra? What do they want? I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe they told me and I just don't recall.
Maybe they just really want vampire minions.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think the actual answer here is that they're all usurpers from the True King.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Yeah.
just trying to grab whatever power they can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, in here, that part is explained that Bellican usurped the True King. And then, like, Bellican and Malcolm are siblings. Like, they call each other brother. And then when Madra's here, they call her sister.
Right.
But also, like, that's said sort of, like, symbolically in the book. Like, Lorith calls Fisher brother all the time and stuff.
It
so
seems
I'm
to
like,
be something they all say to
who's
each other.
actually related?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in this point, it's like Malcolm and Bellican are brothers, which is why they're doing this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will. This chapter and below is where it really starts running off the rails.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is the part where I was like trying to understand what was going on, and then I think my brain was just like, no, none of this makes any sense. Just you're just gonna let this wash over you, and then you'll forget it.
Yeah.
Just to protect yourself.
Yep. Yes. So back to the present. At some point during the story, Madra makes a gross comment about Fisher becoming like her toy, and he's like, "I'll kill you for spaying my mate." Anyways, Malcolm is like, "Why did you jump into the pool and leave these poor people suffering?"
Like, what the fuck can he do at that point?
I don't know.
Look, you're the one who put them in the amphitheater and made them suffer eternally. It's none of his problem what kind of weird shit you're up to.
Yeah, I would say that that's not on Fisher. That's a Bellicon problem.
And while they're distracted, Fisher slices his sword through Bellican. Ceres then snaps Heron's neck, so I guess he's not a love interest.
Yeah. Poor man. He's never going to get there.
Nope. Then they run into the labyrinth. Fisher tells Ceres to feel for the Quicksilver pool at the center and guide them all through it. This like spider monster centaur thing chases them, but luckily they kill it. Then Malcolm keeps changing the routes as they go to make it harder.
This is totally a Drider, right? That they kill?
No, it's called like a Mothril.
Yeah, but it's a Drider, right?
Oh, like from Baldur's Gate?
Well, from D&D.
I don't know D&D that well. I only know it through
It's like a spider with a human up the top part, like a centaur spider.
I looked it up, and it's like It's got 4 legs like a centaur, but it's like got little weird arms. I don't fucking know. Sorry.
Well, I imagined a dragon.
Okay. You can imagine what you want because it's not really well explained. So they do reach the center of the labyrinth, and it's a pool of coins. Malcolm appears along with Madra and an unharmed Belican. Apparently, in order to kill one of them, you must kill all 3. I don't know. Like, they're siblings. It's magic. That's basically the explanation. It's bad. Carrion steps in front of Fisher to defend him and starts arguing with the 3 evil people. Malcolm then eventually bites Carrion and starts drinking his blood, but then he pulls away suddenly. And Carrion is like, haha, you idiot. I'm Carrion Dianthus, firstborn son to the true king and queen, and drinking my blood cures you of vampirism because my dad's blood made the curse that created the vampires. Yeah.
Secret prince.
Yep. Fisher's like, Cyrus, all these coins are fake. The real one is silver because it burned Malcolm when he caught it. So, like, use your magic to find it. So she goes to find it and is like talking to the Quicksilver, and the Quicksilver is talking back and is like, make a bargain with us and we'll let you find us. And she's like, but I need to save my mate. And the Quicksilver is like romantic, I guess, because it's like, fine, you do us a favor and we'll let you find us and save your mate. So she agrees. And then the coin ends up being in the spider monster thing. When she pulls it out of it, Malcolm appears behind her.
This plot is coming at us really fast right now.
Yeah,
That's part of why I was really having a hard time following.
Yeah, the end is like a lot. So Malcolm throws her against the wall and is like, your magic will make me a vampire again. The explanation for this logic was like a fucking mess. I'm chalking it up to the fact that he was like literally decaying and melting because of Carrion's blood. And also the fact that I think the author got really sloppy at the end. But Sarah stabs him in the throat, and then he punches a hole in her stomach and is like, I can't die, girl, because the other 2 live. And then she drops the coin. It lands, and wind shoots out from it, and all of the chanting corpses turn to ash and pass on to the afterlife peacefully. Then Sarah stands up and cuts off Malcolm's head, which allows everyone to use magic again, I guess. I don't know. It's another piece that was like not explained super well, besides like Malcolm being ultra powerful. Taladeus, Malcolm's prince spawn thing, shows up right when Fisher does. They argue about how they're going to save Saris because her guts are like out of her body again.
Yep, once more time.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't like to be on the outside.
No. Taladeus is like, I can turn her. And she's like, I don't want to be a zombie vampire. And they're like, you won't, because Taladeus is actually secretly powerful too. She's like, will I have to drink blood? And they're like, I don't know. And then he bites her and she passes out.
When did Taladeus become like a quote unquote good guy?
No idea.
I was so confused by that.
Yeah.
Thought of, from what I can remember, I thought of him as more like somewhere in the middle. It's like, I'm doing this shit because my dad wants me to. Sorry, bro.
I mean, yeah, that.
I
was totally thinking that was the answer, but I don't recall it ever being said.
No, it's not.
It's one of those things that you're just like, you're just going to intuit this by the fact that he changes allegiances real quick.
Yep.
We assume you have some level of reading comprehension. You get the vibe we're laying down.
Not really. Actually, here I was like, my reading comprehension is poor.
Yeah, because it's a lot right now. So we're almost at the end though. The amphitheater is burning to the ground and they're all trying to get out. Fisher is carrying Saris's body when she hears a voice speak to her. It asks her if she will walk through the door to the other side, like she's going to die. And she says no. Then the voices say, we're calling in our favor. We want to speak to you. Then she gets ripped out of Fisher's arms and gets pulled into the Quicksilver pool by magic. She wakes up in a field and 2 like teen girls are poking at her with a stick and they ask her what it feels like to have sex. It was a very strange way to wake up.
Oh my God. The whiplash that I had right now, I was just like, okay, well, we're dying. That sucks.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. We're in some sort of god world and we're getting poked with the stick and some girls are like, hey, so you had some really cool sex back then.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Tell us. Basically, yes.
The tone shift alone.
Yep. And then they ask her which one of them she worships more, and she realizes that she's talking to the sun goddesses. So then she's like, oh, I'm in like some weird heaven Olympus area. They take her to the god of chaos, and he's like, I've been waiting for you in order to reset the balance of the universe. And she's like, what? And so he says the universe must balance itself out. So the power that her and Fisher have means that there's like an equal evil power out there, which will lead to the end of the universe. I don't know. This comes out of nowhere.
The magic must be balanced.
Yep.
And they're too overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
to use a Gen Z phrase.
Yeah.
The fact that there's like the concept of a good and an evil.
They don't
Like
say
good
evil
and
power.
bad.
Yeah.
That's not how the world works.
I
That's
know.
how nothing works.
Yeah. They don't call it good or evil. The God doesn't. He just says that because they have this power, there must be another equal power out there. I'm just intuing it. Whatever.
Not
I'm
just
just
gotta have
assuming that it's
balance,
going to be
man.
either. Yeah. So, anyways, he says they're here, they're fucking shit up, but there's a small chance that their magic won't kill everyone in the universe, as some endings even the fates and the gods can't predict. But he's like, you were supposed to be born a fae and meet Fisher sooner, but I had the fates like change this, and since I didn't want you guys to meet at all, because if you guys meet, the world ends. So, but it didn't matter. The fate did what it wants. So he continues and says the other gods wanted to kill Fisher, but the sun goddesses have like some weird crush on him. So,
Of course.
yeah.
What was it like having sex with Fisher specifically?
That's how she wakes up. So I'm not kidding. They literally ask about what it's like having sex with their champion. So anyways, the god of chaos is like, I'm nice to my children, so I've been protecting him. So, but in order to protect you both, I have to like cut you out of the tapestry of the universe. So if you accept him as your mate, I will cut you from this tapestry, and no god can help them, and fate won't be able to get into the way. So if you do this, Saris, the universe might not end. Yay. She's like, okay, but like how will you do that? And he's like, I'll make you into something the world has never seen. So she says, okay, let's do it.
This whole literal Deus Ex Machina thing was so unnecessary. It feels like we need to make Saris even more super special and unique. The gods will it.
Yeah, it is very. I love like a literal Deus Ex Machina, like Deus Ex Machina with actual gods. It's like chef's kiss. Love it.
Yep. So Saris wakes up and she throws up in a bucket. Taladeus is there and says, don't worry, this is normal when changing. And she's like, oh no, I'm not a vampire, am I? And he's like, you're not. You're something else. So she looks in the mirror and she's half vampire, half fae, pointy ears and pointy teeth.
I rolled my eyes here.
Yeah, honestly, me too. Later, she punches Carrion for not telling her that he was a fae prince. He explains that Fisher's dad hid Carrion in the human realm for safety, and Carrion's grandma was actually just his protector. Fisher shows up, and the witch helped the healer pull more of the Quicksilver from him, so one day he'll be fully healed and he won't go crazy. He's like, yep, we need to celebrate, but first we have to celebrate you, because in the Fate courts, the crown is passed to the regent's heir, and Malcolm never named an heir, so because he thought no one would kill him, but you did. So as far as the vampire court is concerned, you're apparently the heir. Long live Saris Fane, queen of Sanasroth.
I didn't remember much of the end, and honestly, this recap didn't help clarify my confusion.
Nope.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess she's the queen now. Yeah. I don't understand how any crown would pass to a regent, but whatever.
Yep. And that's the end.
Okay.
That's literally how it ends.
Woo!
So what do we think?
So I do think that this wasn't terrible. It was entertaining for a lot of it. I do think that it was a really huge just grab bag of tropes, and I don't think that's necessarily bad either, because it obviously scratched all the right itches that people have for this genre. I don't know, I think I'm still super salty that Carrion wasn't the love interest. Like in my little heart it was like, oh, Carrion, you could have been so fun if only this had been like a prince returns to his crown, and how that could have been cool. But we didn't get that. We got this weird Kingfisher nonsense, because I mean, listen, Kingfisher is a combo of romantasy love interests. Like, do you want tattoos? We have them. Do you want a tortured background? Yes, got that. Crazy talented warrior man? Yeah, obviously. Shadow magic? Of course. Then you sprinkle some vampire teeth in there for the flavor. Like that is the flavoring that this book has.
Yeah.
That makes it unique. Like, also, I'll never get over the choking thing and how horrible he was to her. And knowing that she was his mate. I mean, like, this Kingfisher dude, like, he kind of turns it around at the very, very end.
Yeah.
And is nice to her. But it's like the majority of it, he was such an ass. I was like, anyway.
That's love bombing after the choking.
Yeah. See? Love bombing after the choking. So, yeah. I mean, it was It was fun up until the ending started, and then I was just so fucking confused. I couldn't like figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'll read more. I think I'll primarily just cheer Emma on as she reads it, because I'm over here patiently waiting for that one Dane Sloan fanfic to update. You know the one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's going to be my life for the next, I don't know, several months, is waiting for this one poor author on AO3 to update this one goddamn fanfic.
Yeah.
See, I won't read ongoing stories.
Yeah, me
for
too.
that reason.
I
I've
know.
been burned too many times. I got 20 years
I
of being
know.
burned.
I can't help it. I have no impulse control.
One time I was reading a story, I think I've said this before, and the author died.
I know. That's happened to me before too.
Like someone logged in and was like, she passed away from pneumonia. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's either they pass away or they have kids, or
Yeah.
like there's something that,
Or they go to jail.
or they go to jail.
Yeah.
I only filter by completed works.
Same.
Because I refuse to get into it.
Tabitha, thoughts?
So I think this was perfectly fine. If you like romantasy tropes, then yeah, go ahead and read this. It is 100% romantasy tropes. So it's a fun read in that way. Personally, Kingfisher was too mean for me. I'm on record as saying that my favorite romances are the ones where people clearly like each other a lot from the get-go, but the other like outside forces keep them apart. Someone being this dickish is an immediate turnoff to me. But I guess at least this guy has like an actual reason for being a feral turd. He's got that mineral in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a reason. I don't know about the choking though.
Yeah.
No.
That seemed like a choice.
Yeah. I had a feeling I was the odd one out, but I still loved it. Like, I think it could have been 2 books just to give like the whole ending more setup and time to breathe, but whatever. In my opinion, I think like the ending part was lacking for me because there was just like not a lot of setup for the last 4 chapters. Once we get into the labyrinth, I feel like I'm learning a lot for the first time. Like the Carrion reveal was fun and kind of same a little bit with Malcolm Bellican and Madra being like magically connected / related, but like why and how does that work? I'd love to know. They say they're brother and sister symbolically a lot in this book, so I couldn't tell if they're like actually blood related or just really tight. Plus, like, again, there's that witch that I didn't even bother naming because she's just like a random supporting character with 3 lines. Like there was like, I don't know, some story behind there, but I wanted to know more. Give me more witch info. But I don't care what you say. I loved like the sort of like shitty, bittersweet enemies to lovers, fated mates, Romeo and Juliet bullshit that made up Sarah's and Fisher's relationship. I'm interested in like the vampire court and lands that we'll hopefully get to know more in the next book. But I hope it doesn't immediately shift into like a political tone. So I guess we'll see. Who do we think we are?
I think I'm Carrion. I think I'm funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. You are funny.
You are funny.
I'm the healer lady. I'm just doing important shit in the background and happily married without any fated mates drama. Like, leave me alone. I got shit to do.
Yeah. And I'm just going to go for my main character moment in Sam Saris. I love being mean to men when they're mean to me. So if you have a hot take or a book you'd like us to recap, you can message us on our socials. You can find the link in our show notes. If you like us, please rate us and leave reviews or comments. That makes us so happy. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.